Welcome to Basketball Day in Canada and a Showtime showdown. The new Hurricane Carter is Vince. The future is Sharif Abdur-Rahim. Same age, same attitude, in the same country. Co-captains of the Royal Canadian Air Force. It's a rivalry that dates back to their teenage years, but now they are men. In fact, they are the men. It's Reef and the Grizzlies, Vince and the Raptors, all Canada, next on CTV. Jackson, take that. A scoring machine. Can you believe it? Again! Oh my! Today in the lower mainland, Vancouver, BC. The buzz, however, is inside General Motors Place. A sold-out crowd today. A testament to the popularity of these two teams in Canada, and also, of course, the popularity of Vince Carter throughout the nation and also throughout the basketball courts and television sets in the world. Two players who played with each other in a high school all-star game 4 or 5 years ago, back on the court head-to-head today. The Raptors looking for their 5th win in a row. The Vancouver Grizzlies have lost 3 straight. And along with my partner Leo Routens, I'm Rod Black. Welcome to the NBA on CTV, everybody. The rave reviews continue for Vince Carter, Letterman, magazines, who knows what's next. He was the player of the week last week with what he did in the previous 7 days. He could be the player of the week again next week.
Well, Rod, Vinsanity has taken the NBA by storm. His coming out party may have been the Slam Dunk Championship at the All-Star game, but since then, he's averaged over 30 points a game his last 13 games. NBA Player of the Week has just been playing outstanding basketball, and what continues to amaze me, Rod, the pressure situations, he just gets better and better. Last Sunday against Phoenix in Toronto in front of a U.S. national audience, he responded with 51 points. Only 3 of those points, or only 3 of those baskets, Rod, slam dunks. He did it in every possible way, astounding everybody.
And he keeps reaching new horizons. Hard to believe he had never hit a buzzer beater in his life until he did it this past Wednesday in Boston against the Celtics to beat the Seas.
He missed a shot earlier that could have won the game, had another chance, and what is amazing when you watch is how much time he took knowing what was on the clock and nailed a three-pointer with a very tough defender, Adrian Griffin, on him, and then took the time to enjoy it as he looked at his teammates who had all the confidence in the world that he would hit this big three-point shot.
So the star continues to rise for Vince Carter. Carter getting ready to go head-to-head once again, and don't forget the numbers and the inevitable comparisons. Michael Jordan to Vince Carter in their second years. Michael and Vince, look at it. You know, some people say that comparison is unfair, but he's going to be hearing that for quite some time.
Without a doubt, and everybody knows that at this point, he is a better shooter than Michael Jordan in his career.
Well, let's talk about the Vince Carter of the Vancouver Grizzlies. What Vince is to the Raptors, Sharif Abdur-Rahim, no doubt, is to the Grizzlies.
Oh, absolutely. Everything Vancouver does still continues to run through Abdur-Rahim, even though Michael Dickerson is having a great season. Abdur-Rahim, 29 points his last outing against the Toronto Raptors, got to the free throw line 16 times in that game. He is a devastating offensive player that can turn it on and carry his team whenever he has to, Rod.
Well, it was 3 weeks ago in Air Canada Centre when Sharif and Dickerson and Bibby put on a show, and they beat the Raptors.
They beat the Raptors by taking it right to them. They out-rebounded the Raptors. They got to the free throw line an amazing 46 times, and they scored 107 points, dictating tempo. Michael Bibby pushed the ball up the court. Abdur-Rahim took it to the basket, and they took an Air Canada crowd and quieted it down quickly.
Well, Vince has played against Sharif as a pro last year and once this year, and so far this year, Sharif has outplayed Vince. What does Lionel Hollins expect in this matchup today?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough matchup for Sharif. Vince is a Superman, and you know, he goes out and he does it all. You know, he runs, he dunks, he shoots threes, he makes last-second shots and block shots. He gets steals. He's having a terrific year, and he's making a stamp that he's going to be one of the greats of the league.
Interesting to hear an opposing coach call Vince Carter Superman.
A lot of coaches are starting to do that now.
All right, let's go to our courtside reporter now. Here's Norma Wick.
Thanks, Rod. Well, from day one of expansion, there has existed a natural rivalry between these two Canadian teams, but one that probably mattered less to the players than it did to everybody else. However, the Grizzlies' win in Toronto earlier this year may have changed all that. It was an emotion-filled, scrappy affair wherein the Grizzlies felt they had earned some respect and the Raptors felt disrespected. Lionel Hollins told his team after that game, now the rivalry has officially begun, and we can expect another hard-fought contest today. Rod?
All right, Norma, so Hurricane Carter is looking to spin his magic up against Sharif. Sunil Joshi, Rick Barry are in the house. You're watching the NBA on CTV. Coming up next, the opening tip.
Welcome to a raucous General Motors place in Vancouver, British Columbia. I'm Sunil Joshi along with my partner Rick Barry as we take the show on the road, the NBA on CTV. The last time these two teams met, boy, a lot has changed. Vince Carter phenomenon has grown all over North America. The Grizzlies are playing a little bit better. You have some specific areas where they are improved.
Yes, let's take a look at the statistics right now because they're very telling. You can see that they're very much the same when it comes to points, free throw percentage for and against Underhill and under Hollins. But the next set of statistics are the telling ones. You can see what they're doing is they're holding opponents to 4 less points a game. That is very critical. In the NBA game, the better the defense, the better you're going to have a chance to win games. If they improve there, shoot a little bit better, they could be a 500 or better basketball team. Toronto, meanwhile, is a team that has finally maybe turned the corner. They would play a great game against somebody like Phoenix that had a big win and then lose against teams they shouldn't lose to. But they've won 3 games against sub-500 teams, not as, a little closer than they might have liked, but now they have another challenge. If they're not up for this game this afternoon, after the Grizzlies win and beat them at home, they'll never be ready.
This is also the big time for the Raptors because it's the beginning of a road trip. Now, at the half, Stu Jackson, who's the president and general manager of the Grizzlies, will be our guest. The question is, what kind of a future does he have with this team? It's time to play basketball. Rod and Leo.
Guys, we are ready, and let's take a look at the starting lineups today and some very interesting matchups. First to the Toronto Raptors, going with the backcourt that consists of Doug Christie and Tracy McGrady. T-Mac playing very well in the backcourt. Vince Carter, of course, up front, 5th in NBA scoring. Antonio Davis and the veteran Charles Oakley. Yesterday at practice in Toronto before the road trip, Butch Carter said, guys, I have a deal for you. We are going to practice today, but if you hit a half-court shot, we won't practice. The 11th guy, Doug Christie, hit the shot from center court, and they didn't practice, got on a plane. Vince and the rest of the team heading to Vancouver to begin this road trip. And the starting lineup, Grant Long getting his first start as a Vancouver Grizzly at center, Othello Harrington, Sharif, Mike Bibby, and Mike Dickerson, and Lionel Hollins talking with Grant Long. Of course, Bryant Reeves is unable to play with the Vancouver Grizzlies, still suffering some injury problems in his knee. So Grant Long is the man who will be up against Antonio Davis today.
Well, Grant Long provides more athleticism and quickness in that starting lineup. A strong player that can get up and down the court. When you're playing the team like Toronto Raptors that is athletic, you want to have a guy that can get up and down the floor.
All right, this is going to be fun, partner.
It should be a barn burner.
Tim Donaghy, Tommy Nunez, and Steve Javi are our officials. Antonio Davis stepping in for the tap against Othello Harrington. And the matchup, of course, we'll watch all day is right in front of you. Number 3 and number 15, Vince and Sharif. Doug Christie hits the ball to Tracy McGrady. Raptors are 4-1. 4-1 since McGrady has been starting in the backcourt. And an illegal defense violation quickly against the Grizzlies.
Well, the Grizzlies are going to be very concerned of a couple of matchups. Obviously, Antonio Davis in the post and Doug Christie, Rod, the starting point guard for the Toronto Raptors. He will look to take Michael Bibby down into the post whenever possible. The Grizzlies are very concerned about foul trouble or potential foul trouble for Michael Bibby.
Carter to Davis. Runs up Harrington. Again, a lob in. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Davis turning and gets the roll off the rim. First basket to the Raptors.
Antonio Davis needs something to drop for him, Rod. He's been struggling. His confidence isn't quite there. Hasn't gotten the ball as much as he would like to get last couple of games.
Grant Long, wide pass to Sharif Abdur-Rahim, inside to Harrington, going up, blocked by Davis. Here come the Raptors again. McGrady handling the ball. Carter wants it, doesn't get it. Davis swinging it out to Oakley, inside to Christie. Mismatch there, Christie and Mike Bibby height-wise, and you have to realize that Doug Christie's probably going to post up Mike Bibby quite a bit today.
Oh, he really will, and that was great defense by Michael Bibby against the much taller Doug Christie.
All right, let's quickly check in with Leo Routen's advanced scout, IBM keys to the game.
First quarter, very important. Butch Carter wants to get out, a good start, take the crowd out of it. Transition defense. Vancouver did a great job of running, scoring, three-pointers as well. Toronto very concerned about that. And free throws, the Grizzlies, and there's the three-pointer by Michael Dickerson. We just talked about it. Butch Carter doesn't want to see that in the free throw line. The Vancouver Grizzlies were 40 of 46, Rod, in their last meeting. Toronto only made 16 free throws, so these are some things we've got to keep an eye out for in this game.
So one basket apiece. Vancouver with the three-pointer. Charles Oakley knocking it down from about 20 feet.
Charles Oakley has proven all season long and throughout his career, you have to respect him from that spot. If you don't get out, he will take that shot all day.
Abdur-Rahim inside to Harrington, off the glass and in. A fella Harrington.
Noah Harrington playing outstanding basketball for Vancouver. Last 4 games shooting almost 60% from the field. As a matter of fact, he's number 9 in the league with shooting just over 50% on the season.
Once again, Christie. Double team comes from Harrington. Oakley threw it to Lionel Hollins, and Hollins isn't playing right now.
Charles Oakley will throw one of those passes every game, whether it's just patented behind the back or just throwing it away like that. He's got to relax and be careful with his passes. You can't afford those type of turnovers early.
Vince Carter knocking it out of bounds so far. Carter really hasn't had his hand on the ball very much, except with that deflection out of bounds.
Vince doesn't tend to force the offense. He will allow his team to get established on what they want to do, but he will get his touches.
Lob pass in to Abdur-Rahim. Good recognition out to Bibby. That shot is off. But Grant Long there for the rebound. Back out to Sharif. Abdur-Rahim goes left side on Oakley. Tries to kiss off the glass. Davis brings down the rebound. Here comes Tracy McGrady.
Abdur-Rahim couldn't get that shot to drop, Rob, but that was a good decision to take Charles Oakley off the dribble.
And a whistle. Down low, Fella Harrington fouling Antonio Davis.
Yeah, a little too aggressive in the post. Antonio Davis trying to establish his position early on, and you could definitely tell that Butch Carter's game plan against Vancouver is to establish some sort of inside game as soon as possible.
5-4 Grizzlies. Davis knocks it down from about 15 feet. The veteran Antonio Davis.
And that's a shot that's just left him the last 3 or 4 games. He hasn't been confident, hasn't looked for it that much. Again, a lot has to do with touches, but you could tell the Raptors trying to get his presence felt early.
Here's a guy who's been touching the basketball a lot. Michael Dickerson had McGrady in the air, swings it out to Bibby for 3. Yes! Mike Bibby!
And Michael Bibby coming off a monster game against the Portland Trailblazers. 25 points on 9 of 13 shooting, and he also had time for 14 assists.
The Grizzlies are 11th in the NBA in three-point shooting. Much better than they have been over the last 4 years of their existence behind the arc. A lot of that to do with Bibby and Dickerson, and also Dennis Scott off the bench. Harrington, jumper, drains it.
Well, one of the things Vancouver's doing, you can see the pace of this game is slow. Vancouver, even though they want to get out and run, Rod, Lionel Hollins told me he wants to make it a half-court game, be very selective about the running opportunities so Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady can't get out and get the crowd excited about their slam dunk.
Carter's first shot is off. McGrady gets the ball back and a fresh 24. Vancouver thought they had it. There's the pass from Oakley. Knocked out of bounds, so we've seen 2 wild ones from Charles Oakley. That one almost worked.
Yeah, that actually was a good pass, but you will get one behind-the-back pass in 3 games from Charles Oakley. And Butch Carter, you know, would like to see it get out of the way early, Oak. So don't see it later on when it counts.
If it ain't broke, don't break it, as Charles says. 10-6 Vancouver. Bibby. Christie on him and a foul, reaching around. Doug Christie on Mike Bibby.
Michael Bibby doing a good job of protecting that basketball. Doug Christie's got long arms, quick hands, and you really have to be careful when you're handling the basketball. And here's that behind-the-back pass. Actually, that was a great pass. Led Tracy McGrady perfectly. Took his eye off the ball as he was looking to finish the shot before he caught it.
Carter and McGrady both scoreless so far. 4-point Grizzly lead. Off the front rim, Harrington's shot was short. McGrady running the play. Christie wants it. In front of Mike Bibby. Back out to Oakley. Inside to Christie again. Hook shot and a foul, and Doug Christie will shoot two.
Doug Christie loves to get in the post. And one of the positives about Doug Christie in the post, Rod, he doesn't take a lot of time to get his move. He makes it quick. That way, a lot of times when the help's coming, it'll get there just a little bit too late. He's very aggressive at trying to attack the basket, taking the angle away from the defender.
Raptors all-time leading scorer. Also the longest serving Toronto Raptor.
And it's a good move for Butch Carter. A lot of people are talking about the fact that the Raptors don't have that true point guard they need to be a playoff contender. But Doug Christie's done a great job as the point guard. And at times, I really feel he's better suited for that position simply because he becomes more consistent, less likely to take bad shots, and he tries to take care of the basketball a little bit more.
Free throws make it a two-point game, 10-8. And a whistle away from the ball. Vince Carter's first personal. Butch Carter's off the bench wondering what that was about. You mentioned Doug Christie's name, though, and his name was mentioned a lot around the trading deadline. A lot of rumors surfacing, and I think it has to do with the fact that Doug Christie is so widely coveted.
Oh, he's such an outstanding defensive player, and again, when he stays in control, he's an outstanding offensive player as well.
Lob into Harrington didn't work, and the Raptors bring it back. A chance to tie the game with a 2, go ahead with a 3. McGrady on Dickerson. Spinning baseline, Tracy McGrady. What a move, what a play.
And again, Tracy McGrady, Rod, has matured so much in the last 6 weeks, more than his entire time in Toronto. He's gone from trying to get points for a degree of difficulty to being efficient and attacking the defense.
Harrington with the pick from Mike Bibby. Splits the middle. Grant Long on the baseline. Grant Long buries it. Once again, the Grizzlies up by 2.
That was a big-time move by Michael Bibby to split the defense. And if Grant Long can hit that short corner jump shot, this will be a long afternoon for the Toronto Raptors because Bibby can create those scoring opportunities.
Mike Bibby with 2 assists already. Vince Carter having a tough time with the Grizzly defense so far. McGrady was open. Christie gave it to him. Tracy McGrady in and out.
Vancouver doing a nice job of not giving second shot opportunities, getting the body on the Toronto Raptors. Toronto Raptors a better offensive rebounding team. Vancouver keeping him off the glass.
Long has the shot, 18-footer. Didn't have a chance. Christie with the rebound brings it up, and he'll operate again. 5:44 to go, first period. Vince Carter with another shot. This one finds the net.
His releases become so quick, he doesn't need a lot of time to take that shot. If you don't get up there, he will put in one shot after the other. You have to take it away, and here's the dilemma you have. He's so good at putting it on the floor now as well.
Only 2 shots so far taken by Carter, 1 going, and we have played almost 7 minutes here in the first quarter. So Lionel Hollins, whatever he's doing, the game plan for the Grizzlies, I think it's working to perfection.
Take the rhythm away from the Toronto Raptors. Don't let them get up and down the court. Keep the pace. Almost to a snail's pace, Rod.
Bibby watching Christie. Did a good job of Christie with the arcing shot over the smaller Bibby. And Doug Christie now has 4 points.
And you can see with that spin how quickly he takes it to the baseline before help can get there in time to help out the teammate.
The Raptors 14, the Grizzlies 12 with a timeout on the floor. You're watching the NBA on CTV. The NBA's Player of the Week, Vince Carter.
CTV Sports, presentation of the NBA on CTV, sponsored by Ford. For now, forever.
Well, the Grizzlies down by 2. They don't have a record like the Raptors, but head coach Butch Carter says, beware the Grizzly Bear.
They're playing very well. I mean, Lionel's got them playing with a lot of confidence. They actually remind me of when I first took over. They believe in the guy. They're doing a lot of things for him. And I hope that we don't get overwhelmed. This is kind of like a playoff game for them. And all these games are, we need as many wins as possible. And so I would look for this to be hopefully a very clean cut, but a very good battle between the 2 teams in Canada.
Well, so far, predictions hold true. As Grant Long goes to the basket, he is fouled, and he will go to the line. The season series between these 2 teams over the years. And remember, a few years ago, this was a rivalry that was kind of contrived a little bit. Gone are those transient players who weren't going to last with either team, who weren't lifers by any stretch. But the series is 4-4, and no team has swept a season series.
We're talking to Lionel Hollins before the game, Rod. He said that that win in Toronto was so important, not just in the stats, but the fact that the boost of confidence it really gave his team coming into Toronto and beating a team that was playing some pretty good ball at the time, the Raptors. So Lionel Hollins really felt it gave his team a boost, and he would like to see them obviously come back with us in front of a sellout crowd today.
And as Norma said, Lionel said the rivalry has begun, mostly because the players are here now. As Vince goes to the hoop and lays down the alley-oop.
You really have to be careful when Charles Oakley gets the ball at the top of the key, Rod. He loves to throw that alley-oop pass. If you get too tight on Vince Carter and don't see the ball as well as your man, you're in trouble.
But now with cornerstones in their franchise, guys who are going to be with the teams, the rivalry will heat up.
Oh, no doubt about it. You can bet the Toronto Raptors, every one of these guys was talking about that loss in Toronto, and they want to pay Vancouver back.
Well, let's take a look at the latest from the Vince Carter highlight reel.
And you can see Abdur Rahim was denying Vince Carter the ball in the wing, took his eye off the ball, and that's where you get in trouble.
4 points for Vince Carter. No points so far for Sharif Abdur Rahim. 4 minutes to go in the first quarter here at GM Place in Vancouver. Raptors on a run, but Mike Bibby answers.
Michael Bibby's been playing great basketball. Even Butch Carter has been amazed. He's saying, I knew Michael Bibby would be a good player. To say that he could be this good and play this well consistently, I didn't think it could happen. It just tells you how Michael Bibby has turned heads around the league.
I think a lot of it, too, the familiarity of having his old teammate from Arizona, Michael Dickerson, with him now. They certainly can control a ball game from the backcourt. Antonio Davis fall away. Dennis Scott is into the game, the veteran who can provide some three-point shooting, brings down the rebound, takes the jumper right away, and that shot was off.
And that's really not a Dennis Scott shot right there, especially coming in off the bench. He has to get his feet set and have time to release.
Tracy McGrady, that's a two-point shot, knocked out of bounds. The officials changed their call. Steve Javy went one way, the other official went the other, and it will be Grizzly basketball.
Rod, you talk about that relationship between Michael Bibby and Michael Dickerson together. These guys have played great basketball, and you'd be hard-pressed to look around the NBA and find a two-guard in the month of February that played better basketball than that guy right there, Michael Dickerson. Averaged 21, almost 22 points a game, 4 boards, shot over 40% from three, just playing outstanding basketball.
Dickerson baseline for the flush.
And a quick first step, as was evidenced right there. He can get up and down the court. He moves very well without the basketball, and an explosive first step going to the hoop, and he'll finish strong.
Doug Christie on the feed. John Thomas into the game, can't get the chippy, and Sharif Abdur Rahim pulls down his third rebound. Almost at the other end, the alley-oop to Michael Dickerson, but earlier Dickerson went baseline, and can he get up quick? Grizzlies run right back at the Raptors. They lead 18-16 with 2:38 to go in the first. How about this move from Michael Dickerson? You're watching the NBA on CTV. The NBA on CTV next Sunday will feature one of two games, either Miami and Indiana or Philadelphia and Boston. Check your listings for the times and the games in your area. Vancouver Grizzlies leading the Toronto Raptors 18-16. Closely fought first quarter. Sharif Abdur Rahim held scoreless so far, but contributing with 3 rebounds and 2 assists.
Exactly. That's the point, Rod. He's still contributing. He's only taken 1 shot, so he really hasn't been involved. He hasn't been missing shots. But the Vancouver Grizzlies are definitely controlling tempo. Raptors 0 second chance points and 0 fast break points.
Mike Bibby, 5 points for him. Bounce pass into Long. Dennis Scott, watched now by Vince Carter. Scott twirling and banks it.
That's a good move right there. Dennis Scott, people don't realize that he's about 6'8". He's a big guy at that guard position or the small forward spot. He's big in terms of physical size and able to get a body on Vince Carter to get the turnaround.
Charles Oakley watched by Scott at the other end. Lob pass to McGrady. And that is
it's not a good pass.
That's 3 bad ones by Oak so far.
It's not a good pass because everybody knew it was coming, especially Michael Dickerson. As high as Tracy McGrady can jump, Michael Dickerson, if he could see that coming, he'll get a hand on it.
Abdur Rahim. Oakley on him. Sharif goes baseline to the basket. A little clutch move underneath and then right to the rim with Vince Carter on top of him. First basket of the game for Sharif Abdur-Rahim.
And a good move. He tried to do it earlier, couldn't finish. This time taking Charles Oakley, who is much quicker than, right to the basket.
Oakley goes the other way. Had nowhere to go, wants to foul as he jogs with the official. Abdur-Rahim on the catch from Mike Bibby.
Right, this is exactly what Vancouver did against the Toronto Raptors in Toronto. They controlled the Raptors as far as their fast break opportunities, but now they're on a 6-2 run because they're playing good half-court defense, and they themselves are pushing the ball up the floor.
Well, Mike Bibby, you talk about controlling tempo. He can dish the basketball, and of course this guy can swish it. We'll come back to Vancouver. Welcome back to the NBA on CTV. The Vancouver Grizzlies on a 10-0 run, 24-16. They lead the Raptors with 1:22 to go here in the first quarter in GM Place. Let's join Norma Wick.
Thanks, Rod. Well, I was just in the huddle with Butch Carter, and this game is not going the way he hoped. There's lots of running, not a lot of whistles, and early on he said he wanted a lot of whistles. They wanted to force the action inside because he said, you know, the Grizzlies are shorthanded on the bench with Big Country being out and a big body. They want to force it inside, get them in foul trouble, because he said, I have a lot more confidence in my bench than Lionel should have in his right now. Rod?
Muggsy Bogues into the game to provide a little energy for the Raptors. Vince Carter takes it, faces up Sharif, takes the jumper, way off. McGrady, though, with the ball. Good fight underneath as Vince Carter will go to the line as he is fouled, and underneath and inside right now, the Grizzlies are controlling the game.
They really are, and that's what Butch Carter is upset about. Good sequence there for the Toronto Raptors on the offensive glass. But the Raptors started off this game 7 of 11 shooting, partly because they did look inside to Doug Christie, did look inside to Antonio Davis. They've missed their last 5 or 6, 7 shots now, simply because they're settling for jump shots up until this point where they went to the offensive glass.
A look at the numbers of Vince Carter through the months. All of the distractions you would think with so much popularity throughout the world really now. He's on every magazine cover imaginable, television shows left and right, besieged by the media, yet his numbers and his legend both continue to grow.
Yeah, he really has a great disposition to handle.
Oh, Grant Long.
That's a good adjustment by Lionel Hollins, putting Grant Long in that starting lineup. His quickness has been obvious already in this game. He's putting the ball on the floor. He's hit a short corner jump shot. He gives so much energy to this team as a starter.
McGrady to Muggsy Bogues, who had a perfect night Friday night against Boston. Perfect from the floor and the line. Vince Carter's perfect on that shot.
That was not an easy shot. Grant Long coming out to help out, and Vince Carter fading away as he does so well. He's got 8 points in a very quiet manner already.
8 points, exactly. Very quiet from him and Sharif, and maybe that's a testament, too, to the defenses that are played on both of these stars. Dickerson off the glass on top of Tracy McGrady. What a good matchup watching Dickerson and McGrady go head-to-head.
And you see the problem for Tracy McGrady. He almost blocked that, but he has to get uptight on Dickerson because he's such a good shooter, and that makes Michael Dickerson, in effect, actually quicker because the defender is so tight on him.
Carter looking for a buzzer beater. Final second, Bibby threw it over the glass, but what a run by the Grizzlies and what a start by Vancouver. The sellout crowd on its feet at General Motors Place. Michael Dickerson with 7, Michael Bibby with 5, Vince Carter with 8 for the visiting Toronto Raptors. Second quarter action straight ahead. Grant Long getting his first start and making an impressive one for the Grizz. A man feeling the heat maybe in Vancouver right now. General Manager and President Stu Jackson will join Rick Barry and Sunil Joshi at halftime. A lot of rumors after the sale with Michael Heisley, the Chicago businessman who really saved this basketball team's future in Vancouver, that perhaps Stu Jackson might be on the way out, with rumors that Dick Versace could be on the way in. We'll approach more of that at halftime as second quarter action is now underway here at GM Place. 28-20 Vancouver. Impressive first period by the Grizzlies.
Vancouver Grizzlies really did a great job of controlling the Toronto Raptors offensively. There's a turnover for Vancouver. Grizzlies 7 of 8 in their last shot attempts, and there's exactly what they did not allow Toronto to do in that first quarter, to get out and get some hoops in transition. The Raptors now 2 of 10 in their last shot attempts. And again, that's just getting out and running. If you can get an opportunity like that, it's going to make the game obviously an awful lot easier for the Raptors.
28-22 now, Grizzlies. Abdur-Rahim with that patented Sharif move.
He is so good at getting into the lane, using his body, getting it up nice and high on the glass. One of the most durable players in the league, Rod, consistently in the top 10 in free throws made and attempted.
Kevin Willis into the game. Veteran backup center. Spinning baseline on Harrington and all mesh.
Yeah, Kevin Willis is a player that over the last month has struggled for the Toronto Raptors. Had sparks of the old Kevin Willis, but really hasn't been as consistent as he was last season.
Carter and Abdur-Rahim battling in the low post. The ball swung around, blocked by John Thomas as 3D Dennis Scott was preparing to launch the ball. Muggsy. To Tracy McGrady. Double team coming. Again, they play pitch and catch. McGrady spinning. Knocks it down.
There's a lot of trust involved to do what just happened on the court. Tracy McGrady didn't like his initial position. He kicked it out to Muggsy Bogues, and Muggsy realizing that if you don't give it back, a player will force shots because he doesn't trust that. He will get it back. So excellent job by Muggsy to get it in.
Mike Bibby for three. Grizzlies 33, Toronto 26.
Michael Bibby, what can you say? He's got 8 points. He's controlling the offense. He's got 4 assists in the game. Also doing it from long range. Just having an outstanding season despite playing heavy minutes, Rod.
McGrady with the bounce in front of Mike Dickerson. The feed from Vince Carter, who now has 3 assists to go with his 8 points.
Dickerson's going to have problems defending Tracy McGrady in the post, and you can see Tracy McGrady
and vice versa
has his problems as well.
So the Grizzlies are now 3 of 5 from beyond the arc. Mike Bibby with 8 points. Right here, hitting a bullseye. Timeout on the floor with 9:33 left in the second quarter.
CTV Sports, presentation of the NBA on CTV. Sponsored by Nike, proud supporters of Canada basketball.
Sharif Abdur-Rahim, for a while, was kept off the scoreboard, but you knew that wasn't going to take very long before he was doing things like that, Leo Routens. He now has 6 points. Grizzlies with a 5-point lead here in the first half in Vancouver.
Well, Vince Carter will present problems to Abdur-Rahim on the perimeter with his jump shot in his first step, but you can see that Sharif Abdur-Rahim going to the basket, Rod, with his ability to use the body and his height advantage at about 6'8.5". Abdur-Rahim does a great job of getting in the lane and extending high above the rim to finish.
So Dennis Scott will inbound. And we have a official's timeout. We have some water or something on the floor near center court. And they'll wipe that up. Can be dangerous, of course. And so now we're ready. Lob into Athella Harrington, back to Bibby. Dickerson. 7 points for him. Tried to dish it off. Good defense from the Raptors. John Thomas to Muggsy Bogues.
Sorry, Rod, that's a good opportunity for Dickerson just to stop in the lane and take that short little jump shot. You don't want to give up a 3-foot shot or a 2-foot shot in traffic.
Vince Carter inside to Kevin Willis. And so now the Raptors trying to go inside a little more. That one didn't go, however, for Willis on the hook.
And you can see that's a shot Kevin Willis has made consistently throughout his career, but he's been struggling with his offense, just not playing to the same ability and capability he's had or is able to play to, Rod.
Mike Bibby for 2. Off the rim. Here comes Vince on the run. Blocked by Mike Bibby. Knocked out of bounds by Carter. The officials, Steve Javi, heard the wrath of the crowd. It was pretty obvious that Carter had knocked it out of bounds. That would have been a gift. So it is Vancouver ball.
Heads up play by Michael Bibby, getting back defensively with his hands up, getting a piece of the basketball.
Mike Bibby, who along with Michael Dickerson, of course, competed in the All-Star weekend in the rookie-sophomore game. And, of course, Mike Bibby involved in the long-distance shootout as well. Dickerson stopping. Willis goes high to bring it down. Muggsy again to run the floor.
That was a good rebound there by Kevin Willis. Even though the offense may be not quite what he wants, he can always be a big-time contributor on the glass.
Bogues to Carter to Christie. Back into Willis, again going inside the post. This time the fall away, Kevin Willis. The ball dropped short. Fella Harrington, this pick for Mike Bibby. Inside to Abdur-Rahim. That one-handed push shot we've seen so often, usually that has a good chance of going. Muggsy, coast to coast, you bet.
Muggsy is the master of the ball fake, the look-away pass. He comes into the lane, Rod, and just looks one way, shows the ball a little bit. Defenses shift because they know he's the #1 player in the history of this league. In assist-to-turnover ratio, he's more likely to pass than to shoot.
Abdur-Rahim, no. Dickerson rebound. 7.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. 33-30. The lead whittled to 3. Abdur-Rahim is fouled. Kevin Willis whistled for the infraction.
You look at Muggsy Bogues. He's so quick with the dribble, getting into the middle, and watch right here, just a little ball fake enough to shift Dennis Scott, get him back on his heels, and he finishes all the way to bucket, coming off a perfect game against the Boston Celtics, where he didn't miss from the field, from behind the arc, or from the free throw line.
Abdur-Rahim in traffic. Gives it off to 3D. Dennis Scott, no. Harrington, back out to Abdur-Rahim. Open shot for 2, yes.
The Toronto Raptors are going to create themselves a lot of problems if they continue to give the Vancouver the second shot opportunities. They're doing an excellent job of pinning their man down, getting offensive rebounds, and then finding the open shooter.
Whistle away from the ball. A look at Sharif Abdur-Rahim. 8 points for him, 8 points for Carter. Great one-on-one going on here in Vancouver. Well, the Vince Carter-Sharif Abdur-Rahim connection goes back to 1995 in the McDonald's All-American Classic High School game. There's Sharif wearing number 33, and Vince wearing number 15, the East team. Vince from Daytona Beach, Florida, playing his high school there. Sharif from Marietta, Georgia. Vince went on to North Carolina fame. Sharif went to California. They're now in the NBA. They are superstars for sure. The East, however, that year lost to the West, and the West had a guy named Kevin Garnett on their team. But it's amazing what those high school games are as far as a peek into the crystal ball. You can take a look at the prodigious talent that comes out of those games.
Every year you see players that eventually will become the great names in the NBA. And as you said, Rod, it's fun speculating to see which ones exactly will step up, like Kevin Garnett or Abdur-Rahim and Vince Carter.
And there will be a year soon when Sharif Abdur-Rahim gets credit enough to be an all-star on the Western side. Unfortunately, he plays in a conference that is loaded with talent.
Yeah, the Western Conference obviously is the deepest conference, and there's so many good teams. Good defense again by Vancouver, and Muggsy Bogues committing the foul, trying to contain Michael Bibby. Now, Rod, we've been talking all along so far in this game about the defense the Grizzlies have been playing on the Toronto Raptors. They've done it without fouling. They only have 3 fouls called against them. So what they're doing is they're containing. They're taking it, they're clogging up the middle, they're getting up on the shooters with a hand up, but they're not giving any penetration and free throw opportunities, especially not giving up offensive rebounds.
Abdur-Rahim allowed to go one-on-one with Antonio Davis, but he misses. He had the lay in on the hook, but couldn't make it go. 35-30. Muggsy to Carter. Baseline. Vince Carter in the air gives it to Dennis Scott. Off balance. Carter's on the baseline, and Doug West flushes at the other end. Vince Carter wanted a foul. He's a little disgusted at the other end. And the trap comes. Carter dribbles out of it. This time the finger roll and goes.
Vince Carter looks like he's going to become a little bit more assertive right now. As watching him during the last time out, he's obviously not happy with the way his team is playing. He's looking to put the ball on the floor. And you know one thing he wants to do, much like Abdur-Rahim, is get to the free throw line.
Carter with 10. Harrington. Hook shot rattles in. A fella Harrington, subject of some trade rumors. In fact, many people thought he was dealt before the trading deadline.
That's right. There are a lot of rumors him going to New York, and John Wallace, an ex-Raptor, coming to the Vancouver Grizzlies.
Carter again, off the glass and in, and the Vince Carter show is beginning now.
And Vince just has a look on his face, Rod, that he can't take this anymore. He wants to get his team going. He wants this team to become more aggressive. Vancouver's dictating tempo, and their defense has been outstanding.
39-34. Abdur-Rahim. Muggsy bringing it up again. 5-point game. Bogues. Blocked by Bibby. Carter elevates the chip in. 14 points now for Vince Carter.
Vince Carter had great position because he sealed Abdur-Rahim to allow Muggsy Bogues an opportunity to get into the lane to make the layup. Bibby with a great block. Vince a heads-up catch.
You could see Vince blinking his eye. He wears contact lenses. One fell out in the game the other night. In fact, he missed 4 free throws. He was playing with one lens in his eye.
Maybe teams are going to find that's the best way to stop him.
Carter knocked out of bounds.
Good job by Dennis Scott to get back defensively. Little Florida connection there as well. Dennis Scott in his Orlando Magic days talking to Vince Carter. Say, hey, young fella, I still have the quick hands. Not going to let you get up there for the dunk.
Vince Carter just got a technical foul as he was going to the basket. He felt that he was mugged a little bit and deserved to be going to the line. He thought he was fouled, but you don't see Vince Carter get teed up too often.
No, he really has a good disposition on the court. Vince, actually Butch Carter, his coach, has talked against the officials in the last month, saying, hey, as often as Vince Carter goes to the basket, he has to get to the line more. And in this game already, we've seen him go in there, try to get some fouls. He's not getting the calls. And I'm not saying they're fouls because Vancouver's doing an excellent job defensively so far. Obviously, Vince Carter feels there was some contact.
I've never seen a guy go out an official and still have a smile on his face, however.
I've never seen a player been received so well by his peers that he has to go out and do battle against on a nightly basis.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 40-36. Carter. Watched by Abdur-Rahim. Falling away. No. Bibby now. 3-on-3 as the Raptors get back quickly. Mike Bibby can't get the benefit of the bounce. Thought that would go. And another whistle. And Charles Oakley, actually, Sharif and Vince are now having words. So the old buddies from high school days are now having words with one another. And this is very uncharacteristic of both players.
That's right. Usually you don't see both players start jawing away at each other. And as you said, this game does mean a lot. It has taken a lot more meaning on than over the previous years. Even looking at Abdur-Rahim before the game, there's a little contact. You can see Abdur-Rahim putting the left elbow in. Vince not appreciating it too much, but that's just normal contact that happens going up and down the court. But if the game means a little bit more, players tend to react a little bit more, and that's what you're seeing right here.
Abdur-Rahim whistled for the foul, not in a penalty situation as Butch gets Vince to the bench to cool down. Carter with 14 to lead the Raptors. 40-36. Christie, pick and roll with Davis. Good play.
Great rotation by Abdur-Rahim to come down and help out on Antonio Davis.
Focus, Sharif Abdur-Rahim, and Michael Dickerson meshes it.
When you play good defense, you're going to have scoring opportunities. Abdur-Rahim did a great job of helping out on Antonio Davis, and Vancouver very efficient on the break, Rod. They're not forcing shots. They're only taking good opportunities on the break.
Muggsy Bogues trying to get his team closer to the Grizz. Charles Oakley, almost a three-pointer. It's now 42-38.
Charles Oakley knocked down the jump shot early. He's been quiet since then. But again, that's a shot that you're going to have to get up and take away because he will consistently take that shot to try to open things up for his perimeter players to go to the bucket.
And a foul, Muggsy Bogues, no basket on Mike Bibby. Well, one of the things about Oak, you did see a lot of bench time there, particularly here in the first half, is John Thomas has been seeing some pretty good minutes over the last couple of weeks.
Well, John Thomas brings energy to the Toronto Raptors. That's why Butch Carter likes to put him in the game. He's a young, lively body, and again, trying to conserve the older legs like Charles Oakley for the latter parts of the season.
Speaking of older legs, D. Brown is into the game. Coming off his injury, back into the Toronto lineup. Abdur-Rahim knocked away by Oakley. Numbers with the Raptors. Christie coming down on Dickerson, stopping and popping.
That's a good decision right there because you had rebounders. Now, Abdur-Rahim at the other end, Rod, he can't get caught up into the emotion. He didn't force shots earlier. He let the game come to him. Right there, he got into the middle lane. His teammates were open. Michael Bibby, Dickerson, these guys can knock down shots if you give them the ball.
Under 3 minutes to go here in the first half. 42-40. West to Abdur-Rahim. Again, the spin move. McGrady had a hand on the ball. How did that ball go in? Sharif Abdur-Rahim in the air, puts it in, goes to the line, and he'll shoot for the three-point play.
Just a superior performer around the basket. he realized he had D. Brown on him and just persisted on getting that ball to the bucket. And look at this creativity in the air, knowing there's going to be contact and still able to finish.
Stu Jackson, the boss of the Vancouver Grizzlies, but for how long? We hope to answer that question and more. NBA on CTV at the half. Let's go back to Rod and Leo.
Again, Stu Jackson, one of the last remnants for both franchises of when they came into the NBA 5 years ago. Look at Sharif Abdur-Rahim, and this guy spins more than a figure skater. He's unbelievable.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, among the top 10 in the NBA consistently, and you know Stu Jackson loves to hear this, in free throws made and free throws attempted. Stu loves the toughness that Abdur-Rahim continues to bring to the floor every time he steps on.
And Sharif Abdur-Rahim has made it a point with all of the Dick Versace talk, a veteran who apparently is somehow connected to this organization already. All of the talk, Sharif has made it perfectly clear that if Stu Jackson goes, Sharif wants to go as well.
Well, it's great to see loyalty on the part of a player towards management. Obviously, Abdur-Rahim has a vested interest.
He also has a contract,
exactly,
though.
That's the whole point. Stu Jackson is the one that awarded him the contract. He's the one that picked him in the draft. And what Abdur-Rahim feels is it's finally the time for Vancouver, where the pieces have finally been put together. Things are starting to happen. They have the right coach in place, and he doesn't feel this is the right time to make a change in management, because everybody knows that usually when you make a change in management, you tend to take a step or two backwards before you go forward.
2.5 minutes to go before halftime. 45-40. Tightly fought first half. Some of the emotions from their last meeting carrying over. Antonio Davis drops that in. He now has 6 points, 3 of 5 shooting for Davis.
Well, the Toronto Raptors looked at Antonio Davis at the beginning of the game. They obviously want to get him involved once again. And that's a good move by Michael Bibby. Looks like Antonio Davis is the one that's going to pick up the foul there, but he's been making excellent decisions from the backcourt, trying to get to the basket here, looking up, seeing Antonio Davis can't get there in time, made sure there was contact. And you look at the backcourt numbers. Michael Bibby and Michael Dickerson, 17 points, 9 assists, and 5 rebounds collectively, shooting over 50%. The Raptors just 1 assist coming out of their backcourt.
Mike Bibby, who came into the NBA last year, of course, drafted second by the Grizzlies overall. Michael Olowokandi to the Clippers. What a draft. Antoine Jameson, of course, going in the 4th position. Then Vince Carter in a prearranged deal with Golden State going number 5. So, in effect, the Grizzlies might have had Vince Carter as well. A number of teams could have.
And getting back to Michael Bibby, averaging 5 turnovers a game his last 7 games. And I asked Lionel Hollins about it. Could it be fatigue? He goes, sure. He goes, everybody's tired at this point. This is the dog days of February and March. You got to grind your way through it. There's not much you can do about it. We need him on the court.
47-42, and in these dog days, as D. Brown set up for a 3, it looked like, Antonio Davis underneath. Hard work. Grant Long pulls it down. Grizzlies look to extend this lead.
And you can see the help coming. If you spin in the lane, you are going to be met by another defender. Grant Long coming over to help out his teammate, Estella Harrington. Outstanding defense by the Grizzlies.
Great split by Bibby again. Harrington. Shot clock is at 7. Somebody's going to have to let it fly. Probably will be Bibby right here. No. Just over a minute to go in the first half. 47-42 Vancouver. D. Brown. An injured knee, back in the Toronto lineup, and he does a lot of this. But he's going to do a lot of that with a little bit of rust, too. The misses will probably come because he hasn't played in a while as McGrady banks one home.
Yeah, as far as D. Brown's concerned, really a surprise to be inserted in this game. Obviously, Butch Carter doesn't like what he sees because D. Brown just not quite ready to play yet. And coming over to Vancouver, a lot of folks are saying it might be a couple of games before he does play.
Dickerson missed what was a free throw, really. McGrady wants to run the ball now. 39 seconds to go. 17 on the shot clock. McGrady wants it. Too strong. Here comes Bibby. 30 seconds to go. Mike Bibby, lay in. No. McGrady the swat. Last 25 seconds.
You can't relax against Tracy McGrady. He's the leading shot blocker in the NBA outside of a center or power forward. He's very quick off his feet, even when you think you have him beat.
Good usage of a timeout here by Butch Carter. His team has been sort of out of sync in this first half, really. With 47-44 the score, 16.7 left and 14 on the shot clock. Raptors want to work a play and they want to score.
Exactly. Here we get a look at that McGrady block. Excellent job by Bibby getting down the lane. That was just a superior effort defensively by McGrady. But if you are Butch Carter, one of the things you do want to do is try to get a bucket here. He's usually very good at adapting to different situations and calling plays, coming out of timeouts and getting his team to react and do something positive. Lionel Hollins, all the Grizzlies have to do is continue to do the job they're doing defensively. How about the numbers by Michael Bibby, Rod? 10 points, 6 assists. Hey, how about this one? 4 rebounds for the point guard as well.
Working on what could be a triple-double. Second quarter shooting, Toronto at a 60% rate. Vancouver at 35%. Now, we already have seen Dennis Scott in the game. D. Brown in the game. It's kind of an old-school 3D game. We now have Del Curry. 3 guys who have made their living, their bread-and-butter shot beyond the arc.
There's some tremendous shooters. You have to remember, D. Brown and Del Curry last season were among the top 3-point shooters in the NBA in percentage and makes. And, of course, everybody knows what Michael Dickerson has done this season, shooting over 40%.
Vince keeps looking at Butch. 5 on the shot clock.
Nice pass.
Nice pass. The pick and roll. Vince Carter fouled by Grant Long. So no basket. It was a great play to Antonio Davis inside. So the foul.
Lionel Hollins happy right there. He realized the Grizzlies have a foul to give in that situation. You don't allow the Raptors to get a good shot off, make them throw the ball in bounds right here. That was a good look with the help coming by Vince Carter.
Last 5 seconds, the shot clock restored. So Toronto should get last shot. McGrady looking at the clock. 3.2. Del Curry. Yes! What an insertion by Butch Carter, bringing in the veteran Del Curry. Nails the buzzer beater to end the first half. A close first half, 47-46 for the hometown Bears. The Grizzlies leading.
The Grizzlies did a tremendous job in that first half, Rod. Outstanding defense, holding the Raptors to not allow them to get out in fast break situations.
Let's go down to Norma Wick, standing alongside Sharif Abdur-Rahim.
Thank you, Sharif. An excellent half of basketball for the Grizzlies, particularly on the defensive end. You did a good job of controlling the tempo.
Yeah, we're just trying to make them work for everything they got. They got some real good offensive players, so we're just trying to contest all their shots and make them work hard for all the shots that they get.
Neither you and Vince, or you, neither yourself or Vince are known to have dust-ups on the court. You had a few words there. Vince just came over now, patched things up, but that's the level of intensity today, isn't it?
Yeah, we're just out here trying to play hard and compete, nothing personal.
What did he say to you when he came to you now?
Nothing, just playing hard.
All right, thanks, Sharif. Good luck.
Well,
back to you, Rod.
Thank you, Norma. There are 2 guys right there, Leo, who do play very hard. Sharif Abdur-Rahim and Vince Carter. 6-2 Raptors run to close the first half. Here's Sunil Joshi.
Thank you, Rod. Well, that was quite the first half. We expected a little better, and certainly there was some animosity between the 2 stars.
Well, I don't know about the animosity, just a little bit of a disagreement going up the court. But I'll tell you what, it was a very good first half, and we have a very good story to tell here when we come back after this break, because it really was a story of 2 quarters.
All right, we shall do that when we come back. Rick will have his analysis, as well as Stu Jackson. Sharif with 11 in the first half.
The Nike Halftime Report is brought to you by Nike, proud supporters of Canada basketball. Now, here are Sunil Joshi and Rick Barry.
Welcome back. It is halftime here in Vancouver, and the Grizzlies leading at 47-46 over the Raptors. Well, what's the story of the first half, Rick?
Well, you know, we had 2 quarters, and you have 2 distinctly different stories. The first quarter, Butch Carter's not going to want to watch these highlights, because we're going to take a look at these. Defense was non-existent as far as playing against them. Here we go. First of all, we're going to go into the corner. Dickerson's going to take a drive. Nobody to help on the weak side. They're late. He goes all the way in and dunks the ball. Then we're going to go ahead and see Sharif getting the basketball on the next play. He goes to the basket. Vince is late, turns his head, gets caught in another easy basket by the Grizzlies. Then we get Long on the corner. He gets Willis running out at him. That's terrible. Weak side, a little late, getting over to help again. Another easy basket by the Grizzlies. And then finally, we have Dickerson again going to the basket. Vince could have stepped in. He didn't do it. Dickerson's able to get to the basket. So you have some real problems with your defense. Then Butch must have talked to him. Look at how they shut down the middle this time. The help is there. They knocked the ball away, and they come up with the loose ball. They did a lot more of that in the second quarter. And then Vince took over offensively. Now watch this move. Good help defensively by the Grizzlies. He knifes in between them, uses his athleticism, and Vince Carter decided that he was going to step it up and get them back in this basketball game. But they did it, first of all, with their defense.
Indeed, it was a tale of two situations, because in the first quarter it was all Grizzlies, and if you look at a halftime, it is only a one-point game, and the Grizzlies are leading this one. Joining us now is the president and general manager of the Vancouver Grizzlies, Stu Jackson. Stu, thank you for joining us. This has been quite a year for you. When you look at what's happened, two owners, you're still the boss. Will you be the boss next year?
Well, actually, I'll correct you. We've had three owners.
Okay.
Really in the last 3 months, which has been a lot of fun for all of us. And in terms of what's going to happen in the future, really anybody on my staff or within the organization, quite frankly, we just don't know. But stay tuned.
I have to ask you how frustrating it may have been for you with the trade deadline coming up. There were rumors there were a number of trades in the works. Nothing happened. Can you tell us if there were some trades, and were you know, what did they tell you could do?
Well, we've always made it a policy, Rick, never to talk publicly about trades, and for certainly not any of the talks surrounding those trades. But certainly we were as active as anybody in an effort to continually try to improve our ball team, and we'll continue to do so.
Okay, would you have been allowed to make these trades, or were you told that you couldn't do them?
Well, that's really an issue between myself and you know, both my owners. And but as we've always done in the past, we really don't discuss those things publicly.
All right, let me ask you now. Sharif Abdur-Rahim came out in support of you publicly, and in fact, he even suggested if you're not here, he won't be here. What does that make you feel like, and how does that affect your situation?
Well, I don't think it really affects my situation one way or the other, and it's really not an issue I can comment on a great deal, other than to say that, you know, Sharif is a very high-character individual who is very much an independent thinker, and certainly his words are going to be heard not only by our fan base, but also by our ownership as well, and we'll see what happens.
Let's take all of the inner workings going on with management and ownership. Throw that aside. You, from your professional standpoint, give us your evaluation of this basketball team right now and where you see they're going to be able to go.
Well, we feel very, very good about our basketball team, Rick, and really stand by the direction that we're going. We set out with our objective to build this team's foundation primarily through the draft, and do it with a young team that we hope 5 years down the road we would have a core of guys to go forward with and really make a push. And we feel very comfortable that that's where we are. I think regardless of who the ownership is, Rick, and whoever comes in, certainly there's a very good foundation that's been laid here with the players that we have, and we think that we're going to be okay going forward.
Since you brought in Lionel Hollins as head coach, Mike Bibby has certainly improved his game. Obviously, you'd like Lionel Hollins to stay on as a coach?
Well, I think Lionel's done an excellent job, Sunil. He's tweaked our system a little bit. He's really brought a new level of communication and spirit of place around our team, and we feel very comfortable with him as a coach, as do the players, and certainly Mike's benefited from that. I think Sharif has played a much more well-rounded game, and, you know, Dickerson has really flourished in the system as well.
Your number one priority to take this team to the next level?
I think with our team, somewhere along the line, we've got to improve our defense, particularly in the paint, with a shot blocker or a player like that. You know, another long, athletic guy certainly will help take us to, you know, another level, and certainly to add to our overall depth offensively.
It's sort of too bad that these two teams don't play in the same division, because you'd love to see them more often. Is there a rivalry now on the court between these two teams?
Yeah, I think that there is. You know, no matter how much someone tries to deny it, and I think it's terrific for the fans across Canada to have, you know, a full house like this. Obviously, the Raptors have played really well. We've been playing better, and it's two pretty good young teams. It's nice to see.
You know they're into it when you see Vince and Sharif get after it. They're buddies, and
yeah.
I like to see that's good. They're after it.
There's nothing wrong with a little bit of motion.
Not at all.
Thanks,
Stu Jackson, thank you very much for joining us. We know it's been a difficult situation for you, and we hope good luck to you for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks.
So Vince Carter has 14 points, but the Raptors trail by 1. We'll be back with more in a moment.
The Nike Halftime Report is brought to you by Nike, proud supporters of Canada basketball.
Our next broadcast broadcast is a NBC simulcast, 12:30 Eastern next Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. It's either Miami at Indiana or Philadelphia at Boston. Welcome back to GM Place. The Grizzlies lead by 1 point over the Raptors, despite the fact that Vince Carter's got 14 points and Sharif Abdur-Rahim has 11, so the Stars are doing their bit. When you look at the ways to win, how do you do it?
Well, we've been all season long talking about the ways to win. The team that wins the inside game normally wins. You can see we have a 1-point game, and I think that these statistics actually tell the story. 20-20 on inside scoring, 6-6 on fast break points. Toronto with a 1-point advantage over Vancouver, 5-4. However, I think that Vancouver had the edge with the 3-point shots, Neil, and that really was kind of the difference in the game. So we really did have quite a story. First quarter was all the Grizzlies. The second quarter turned out to be the Raptors. Now it will be interesting to see who steps up in the first 5 minutes of the third period. Every coach will tell his team the first 5 minutes of this third period, guys, are going to be critical. It will be interesting, as far as I'm concerned, to see which team is ready to give those 5 minutes to his coach.
Not to make excuses. The Raptors fly from East Coast to the West Coast. They have to play at 9 o'clock as far as their time is concerned. From a body clock standpoint, how difficult is it to get it going?
You can't let those things bother you. So you take your watch, you throw it in the toilet. I mean, who cares? Get rid of the watch. Just be ready to play the game. It doesn't matter what time it is. And this is what these young players have to do. And sometimes it's a problem. I talked to Muggsy Bogues before the game a little bit, and some of the older guys. How are they letting this Raptor team not be ready to play all the time? He said, Rick, it's unbelievable. You know, these guys just don't understand it. You got to show up to play every game. So we'll see if the Raptors are able to go ahead and show up, and if they let the time zone bother them in this scenario.
All right. Len, let's find out exactly what happened in the first half between the Raptors and the Grizzlies. Vince Carter, as I mentioned, 14 points. Sharif Abdur-Rahim with 11. Three-pointers, well, Vancouver, 3 for 7. And the Raptors, who usually are pretty deadly from three-point range, have none. They trail by 1. The third quarter is next.
Well, if you look at the record books and the stats right now throughout the league, Toronto Raptors on a 4-game win streak, the Vancouver Grizzlies on a 3-game losing streak. Big difference, a chasm between these two teams, east and west, in where they're going. Raptors likely destined for the playoffs, the Grizzlies just for some respect. But it's obvious every time these two teams get together, and maybe it comes more from the Grizzlies side of court, they want to beat these guys.
Oh, absolutely. Vancouver doing a great job in the first meeting where they beat the Toronto Raptors, and in this game so far, doing everything they need to do defensively and offensively. Vince Carter had 14 points in that first half, Rod, but it really wasn't until the second quarter when he tried to become more assertive to help his teams out, I should say, and Abdur-Rahim doing an excellent job carrying the load, again, offensively, and a little scrap right there between the two stars, but that's, as Rick Barry said, you'd be surprised if they didn't go at each other a little bit with all the emotion involved.
Well, and the matchup that goes back to last year when Vince opened Air Canada Center against the Grizzlies, and they beat them. Then this year in the rematch between Vince and Sharif, and dominated by Sharif. So far, you can see the three-point field goal percentage, 3 of 7 for the Grizzlies, and the Raptors 0 for beyond the arc. And Abdur-Rahim and Vince Carter. Emotions a little frayed. Of course, they played in that high school classic 5 years ago in St. Louis.
Oh, well, we played together for a while, summer camps and McDonald's game. We also played in the Magic Johnson All-Star game like a week later. So we played together, and we've seen each other play for many years. And now we're in the NBA playing against each other now, and it's exciting.
Well, that is basketball, and that is sport. No matter how much you may like a guy off the court, on the court, you have to play like a warrior.
And if you look at the great players that have come through the league, as you get a look at their numbers, pretty even. The great players like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, when you step in the line of the basketball court, watch out. These guys might smile at you, shake hands before the game, but exactly, they will tear your heart out, regardless of the friendship you may have off the court. And both of these players are tremendous competitors. That's why they've established themselves already in this league.
And I don't think you're going to see them drop the intensity one bit. I know that Vince came over to Sharif and gave him a pat on the back after the buzzer in the first half. A great shot by Del Curry, by the way, to end that first half. But you know that both of these guys love to play on a high wire. And we'll see what happens here in the second half, third quarter underway. Vince Carter, the 5th scoring leader in the NBA. Sharif Abdur-Rahim, numbers down scoring this year, but rebounds are up and becoming maybe more of a complete player, Leo.
No doubt about it. He's distributing the basketball better. He's waiting for his opportunities more. He's sharing the ball with his teammates, realizing they can be a big part of the success here.
That ball partially blocked by Tracy McGrady. Oakley with the touchdown pass. McGrady was there.
Little defensive adjustment there. Tracy McGrady on Abdur-Rahim now. Remember, McGrady about the same height as Abdur-Rahim, able to challenge defensively better.
And Antonio Davis fouled to start this third quarter, so Antonio will go to the line. He's seen his free throw numbers dip a little bit. Started the season on fire, was a career 68% shooter. He was in the 80s. He's now down into the high 70s. But
Which is still pretty good.
Pretty good,
when you look at the career numbers. And the only thing that, if you're watching the Toronto Raptors, you realize that he just needs to get the ball more, has to be a part of things a little bit more. Now, granted, Tracy McGrady and Vince Carter have had some big scoring games, but you can't forget about the big guy that you depend on to save you when you get beat, block shots, and get big rebounds for you.
And there he goes, 1 of 2 again. So the score is tied. The Raptors have not held the lead since the 4.5-minute mark in the first quarter. 47-all, Leo.
Right, when you look at, you can bet both coaches said that the first 5 minutes here are so important to establish who's going to win the basketball game. But one of the areas I'm going to look at for this game is who's going to get to the free throw line. There's only been 10 free throws attempted for both teams collectively. And who's going to get there will establish their presence.
Christie and Bibby both missing 3-point field goal attempts. Mike Bibby is going to operate the half-court set now. Bibby given a free lane to the basket, but blocked by the Raptors. McGrady's got it back. T-Mac lost it, knocked out of bounds by Vancouver. Toronto ball.
Tracy McGrady a little casual on the fast break there. Vince Carter wanted that ball thrown ahead. He's looking at Tracy saying, hey, young fella,
hey,
give me the basketball.
Hey, cuz.
A good job by Sharif Abdur-Rahim to get back and pursue from behind. You never want to give up on a break situation. If you can get a deflection, that's all you can last.
Sharif still up on Vince Carter. Baseline. Carter, look out!
Now the weak side rotation, the help that was so obvious and so successful in the first half, falling asleep a little bit there for Vancouver. You got to get over and realize that Vince Carter, if he doesn't have that jump shot, he's going to look to get to the bucket.
First lead for Toronto since way back in the first quarter, 49-47. Dickerson launches, gets it, three-pointer. Michael Dickerson getting the lead right back.
And you can see how much room he had to take that shot, Rod, because he put the ball on the floor and attacked McGrady in the first half. McGrady showing respect and getting beat from the outside now.
McGrady on the catch. Missed the lay-in on the turnaround. Davis is there. Good work, but lost it. And it's still Toronto ball.
Antonio Davis looking at Steve Jabby, one of the officials, saying, hey, I don't normally shoot air balls from 2 feet. There must have been some kind of contact.
You see Tracy McGrady clutching his lower back after that. McGrady left the game against the Boston Celtics on Friday night. Butch Carter, however, allayed any concerns earlier today. He said T-Mac was ready.
I asked him before the game how the back feels. He said, it's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. But you can definitely see some of the explosiveness that he usually shows on that last shot wasn't there. Doing a good job, however, right now getting the ball inside against Dickerson. That's a second foul on Michael Dickerson.
Davis to Oakley. Quick shot, doesn't go. 6th rebound for Abdur-Rahim. Bibby coast to coast. No. And they are saying it is Vancouver basketball.
Well, Vancouver continues to crash the glass here in the third quarter, Rod. They're doing a real good job of giving themselves more scoring opportunities, and Bibby continues to push that ball.
Dickerson continues to shoot it. That one was long. Carter controls the ball, flips it up court to his cousin McGrady, who goes high over the front row. There's an idea of the vertical leap on Tracy McGrady.
For the Raptors now, you got to take care of the basketball, Rod. You can't force plays like that. That's one of the things they've been very good at over the last 10 games. Toronto's averaged 24 assists per game and just under 13 turnovers. Second highest or second best assist-to-turnover ratio in the NBA.
Well, a scrambly start to open up the second half. We'll come back to GM Play. Well, the all-Canadian showdown. 50-49, the hometown Grizzlies sellout crowd here this Sunday afternoon at GM Place. Mike Bibby being attended to. It looks like he might have, he might have bit down on his tongue on the floor. That's always a danger. I'm surprised that Michael Jordan didn't lose his tongue. He had that thing flapping out all the time, didn't he?
Oh, especially in the game of basketball, when you're going to the hoop, how many times you see players get hit in the jaw, and one good shot to the jaw when that tongue was hanging out. It's amazing it didn't happen.
Well, Bibby's all right now. Lionel Hollins, according to Norma Wick during the break, was on his players to get up on the Toronto Raptors. A slow start to the second half. Pretty good tempo in the first two quarters. And I think both teams tightening up their D. Othella Harrington, the jump shot won't go.
Vince Carter being a little bit more active on the boards, Rod. He's got 6 rebounds in this game to come close to his partner, Tracy McGrady. He's got 9 rebounds.
McGrady cutting inside, blocked by Harrington. He has Abdur-Rahim on the wing, waits, gives it to Dickerson, goes high, blocked by McGrady. Underneath is Harrington, whistle, he'll go to the line, and they'll count the basket.
Great offensive rebound, solid inside Othella Harrington. Rod, what you want a player to do is not panic when you get the basketball under the hoop. Othella Harrington following up this good defensive play here by Tracy McGrady. Look at how he collects himself. He gathers and waits so he's ready to go up strong, a little ball fake, able to get the contact and make the three-point play.
And he does. So Othella Harrington now with 9 points and 5 rebounds. It is 53-49 Vancouver. And a whistle on a reaching foul. Grant Long.
Crowd not liking the foul, but any contact above the free throw line extended, and Lionel Hollins not arguing the play because he understands this very well. You're not allowed to have any contact with the offensive player if he's facing the basket with the dribble.
McGrady to Oakley. Christie has Oakley open. Here comes the double team. There's Oak. And there's the hoop.
That's a good pass right there. Charles Oakley had all the time in the world to line up that shot. Put it up.
Charles Oakley now with 6 points. Lead down to 2 again. Make it 4 again. Othella Harrington.
Othella Harrington's so good once he gets into the lane, Rod. He's another player with quick offensive moves around the basket. When he's got his back to the bucket, gets that ball up, and being a left-hander, he has an advantage right there. But there's a guy you got to get up on. Charles Oakley again, back-to-back jumpers.
And teams back off of Oakley and give him that shot. He will hurt them more often than not. 4 of 7 from the field for 8 points for Oakley. Bibby in the air gives it to Abdur-Rahim. Harrington again. Dickerson. Back to Othella. Double team. Carter looking for the block, but Harrington with the basket.
Rod, we talked about that first half with Muggsy Bogues and Tracy McGrady. The confidence in your teammates to kick it back out to Dickerson and get it right back into Othella Harrington. That's what it's all about if you want your big guys to take good shots.
Harrington with the last 7 Grizzly points. Oakley shooting demon this quarter. McGrady off the glass. Off balance. And the 2-point lead again.
That was a tough shot, Rod. He didn't want to take that off-balance shot. He left his feet, realized the defense was there, had to hang in the air to make it.
57-55 Grizzlies. 7 minutes to go in the third.
A little too late there. Othella Harrington wanted that ball sooner, and you got to realize he's got the hot hand. Keep giving him the ball until somebody stops him. Don't stop him yourself.
6 of 10 from the field. I think all of those rumors that persisted about Harrington being traded, I think Steve Jackson and Lionel Hollins are happy that he's still here based on what he's done the last few minutes. Carter with the block. Gets it back. Vince Carter. Baseline, fall away. No. Long rips it down. Bibby. Long coming back into the offense. Abdur-Rahim. And Vince Carter. The foul, the reach in.
You got to be careful with Abdur-Rahim. Once he gets that ball down low, Vince Carter's got to work a little harder to keep him out away from the basket or try to get in front of him, hope there's some help. It's very difficult to throw an alley-oop pass over Vince Carter with his leaping ability. But you cannot let Abdur-Rahim set that low close to the bucket.
Ball off the foot of Doug Christie. And Charles Oakley with the foul on Grant Long. Oakley walking over Grant Long, gives Mike Bibby a slap.
Now Charles Oakley's just having a little fun out there. Michael Bibby knows he's, come on, Bibby. I'm the smallest guy out here. Leave me alone.
Javi talking to the scoring desk. Charles Oakley, if he wasn't a basketball player, wouldn't he make a great villain in a movie?
You wouldn't want to run into him in a dark alley. That's all I'm going to tell you.
But he's such a nice guy away from the game.
And he really is great with his teammates, keeping them relaxed and poised and understanding exactly what they have to do. He's a coach on the floor with Butch Carter.
Dickerson watched by Del Curry in the game. Here comes Othella Harrington, the cutter. Knocked out of bounds by Oakley, and there's another foul. He better be careful.
Well, Charles Oakley has made a career out of using his hands. He's got a reputation with the officials. He usually gets away with quite a few deflections when the offense tries to bring up that ball. If you show it, he's going to knock it away. That time getting called for the foul. Good decision by the Grizzlies to go back into Othella Harrington. Remember, Oakley has the attention of the officials after the last foul. Go right back and bring more attention to him and hopefully get the call, and they did.
Harrington draining the first free throw.
Watch Othella Harrington, Rod, what he does. He shows that ball.
And that's a foul.
And Charles Oakley slapping at it. Again, gets away with quite a few of those because he has the reputation of the quick hands with the officials.
Well, he also had a reputation until last year of making the playoffs in every year he played in the NBA, and it looks like he's going back to the postseason. Talk about what his presence will mean in the playoffs should the Raptors get there. Oakley again sets and hits. Bullseye. Charles Oakley, 10 points now.
Well, Charles Oakley, he's a deadly shooter and even more deadly with the game on the line. This season for the Toronto Raptors, there were countless games when they really needed him to knock down shots or somebody step up, and he did. In this game so far, he's 5 of 8.
Giving the Raptors a 2-point lead, 59-57. Abdur-Rahim and Carter battling again. Vince watching Sharif. Tried to make the turn, stolen by Toronto.
Good job by Oakley helping out his teammate from behind.
Raptors trying to take control now. Long court pass to Curry. Davis faces up Harrington to spin move again. We have seen a lot of spin moves in the paint.
That's right. That's what most players trying to. That's one reason why, Rod, is you're having good, solid man-to-man defense. Everybody's trying to contain. You have to come up with something else to try to get in the lane, get closer to the bucket, and that's why you're seeing more spins than usual.
59 all. Abdur-Rahim, good feet to Dickerson. Met at the rim by a number of Raptors.
Michael Dickerson is very deceiving, Rod. He doesn't look like somebody that's going to climb the Raptors the way he does. But he's got an explosive first step, followed up by the ability to get over the rim. Look at this. He just goes up. He knows he's going to get hit, but he says, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to get contact. I'm going to try to dunk this. I don't care who's there.
Giving the foul to Charles Oakley. So Oakley now playing with 3 fouls, and so is Antonio Davis.
I mentioned how well Michael Dickerson's played in February. He's played great for Lionel Hollins since he's taken over, averaging just under 20 points a game. But the impressive part about Dickerson is that teams are focusing on him. Teams are really looking to shut him down as one of the main offensive options, and he still continues to play well.
61-59 Vancouver. Christie tried to make the move on Bibby, who fouled Doug Christie.
Doug Christie's been very quiet in this game. We saw the Raptors trying to establish his position around the basket early to try to go at Michael Bibby, but he's only got 6 points in the game, and maybe more importantly, Rod, just 3 assists as the point guard that's in charge of moving the ball around.
Christie now posting up Bibby, faces him up. Takes him to the basket, turning off the glass. It won't go, a little too strong.
Michael Bibby's doing a great job trying to defend a bigger player in the post. He's staying between his man and the basket. He's getting his hands up. He's looking for the offensive player to initiate the contact without fouling.
Dickerson bouncing into Harrington. Long, open shot, converts it.
Grant Long percentages have been going up every month of the season for him since he's been back playing. He's been struggling, coming back from an injury, missed the first 26 games of the season, but again, his percentage is getting better the more he plays.
Valuable acquisition from the free agent wire. Del Curry, what a shot. That stroke is as smooth as it gets.
Yeah, and he's got a quick release. He doesn't need much time to get it off. Always looks like it's going in as soon as it leaves his hand.
Still a 2-point lead. Close game here at GM Place. Bibby on the pick. Christie, a block. Doug Christie's done a lot of that lately. Block knocked out of bounds. Toronto ball.
Yeah, Doug Christie's averaged 4 blocks a game. His last 3 games had 7 blocks. against the Chicago Bulls last week, and that's just good reaction right there, stepping up on Michael Bibby.
Not many point guards have 7 blocks in one game. Have 7 blocks in a season.
That's right. Not many point guards are looking to post up the other point guard as often as Doug Christie does, and that's why for Butch Carter, it's not a bad option to put him there. Again, less likely to get a little erratic offensively, and he poses so many matchup problems, and defensively he's quick enough to cover just about anybody.
63-61. Oakley again, open. No, not that time.
Waited too long and he knew it. He had the shot, hesitated, took his rhythm away.
3.5 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Fella Harrington. Grant Long. That one should have gone. It looks like Vince Carter will be whistling for another infraction on Sharif Abdur-Rahim, and for Carter, another personal foul. So the Raptors getting into some foul trouble here in the third quarter. For Vince, that's number 3.
Well, Stu Jackson talked about Abdur-Rahim, how he's a more well-rounded player. And that time, his teammates had the ball. His teammates were taking a shot. Grant Long with the shot at the foul line. And what Abdur-Rahim did, just say, hey, you know what? I know he's going to shoot the ball. I'm not going to wait for the shot to be taken. I'm going to establish my position, be waiting for that ball to come off the rim. And that's why Vince Carter picks up his third.
You know, I said earlier that the Grizzlies last year could have been one of the teams that could have obtained Vince Carter in the draft. Well, the Toronto Raptors a few years ago could have been the team that obtained Sharif Abdur-Rahim.
That's right. He elected to take Marcus Camby instead, who's now playing with the New York Knicks. A lot of twists and turns in building a franchise, Rod. And
really?
Of course, having Marcus Camby allow the Raptors to get Charles Oakley from the Knicks, and everybody knows what value he's brought to this team.
Carter. Pick and roll to Oakley. That time, quick shot. That's the shot of Charles Oakley. Gets it, lets it go, and normally hits it. 12 points now.
Now, I told you it took a little bit too long in the last shot. That shot was even a little quicker than Charles normally takes on his shot as far as time goes, but he's feeling it, and he's willing to let it go.
Under 3 minutes to go here in the third quarter. 64-63 Vancouver. Christie and Obina Akizi battling, and Doug Christie whistled for a foul. Obina Akizi is into the game, the former star from Maryland, getting much more playing time with Bryant Reeves out of the lineup. 1-point Grizzly lead. We'll step aside. The Portland Trailblazers, who beat the Grizzlies on Friday, will host the Raptors. That's tomorrow night in the Toronto area. Regional basketball on Sportsnet. John Saunders and Leo Routins with the call, and Tom Glasgow and Al Chris Manson. Next week, next Saturday, the Vancouver Grizzlies are in Atlanta to play the Hawks again on Sportsnet in the Vancouver area. And don't forget, next Sunday, national game simulcast NBC, either the Heat and the Pacers, who are playing excellent basketball, and the rejuvenated Sixers and the Celtics. And Tony Kukoc, now a member of the Sixers. Fella Harrington having himself a game today against the Toronto Raptors. 15 points, 6 rebounds. Lead down to 2 again.
A fella doing a real nice job in the lane. Roddy's had good post-ups, taking Charles Oakley and Antonio Davis to the basket. His teammates doing a real nice job of getting him involved offensively, realizing he's getting it done. Give him the rock.
Fella Harrington came over in the big trade with the Houston Rockets, of course. He was a Rocket last year when Steve Francis did not want to play with the Grizzlies. Steve Francis last year, who, by the way, Francis is having a great year with the Rockets, played alongside this guy at Maryland, Obina Akizi, and he's a fine prospect.
Akizi, a lot of folks forgot about him, got hurt in his senior year. I thought it was a great gamble to take a shot at Akizi by the Vancouver Grizzlies. He's a big physical player that I think has got a bright future in this league, especially when you consider he's a second-round pick.
He'll have a brighter future if he knocks down a few more free throws. Missing 2 there, however. It's 64-63. Grizz. Willis. Long hook shot. That was Kareem-like out there, about a 14-footer.
Yeah, Butch Carter didn't like that shot too much for Kevin Willis. That was just a step or 2 beyond where he normally shoots from.
Sharif Abdur-Rahim now with 8 rebounds to go with 12 points. Wants the ball again. Here comes Willis on the double team. Pass out to Long. Inside to Akizi on Oakley. Obina Akizi, no!
Lionel Holland showing a little confidence in the big fella, getting him the ball.
Carter, the finger roll, and a blocking foul against Akizi, who wasn't set. Looked like it could have been a charge, but Vince Carter will go to the line.
Well, Vince Carter's very difficult to grab a charge on simply because he can change direction in midair. You see him come right there, and he realized Akizi didn't have his position yet, And what good offensive players do, when they see that, they turn on the jets and make sure there's some contact so they can get to the free throw line.
Pretty close, though. Kesey did a pretty good job.
That was a good effort by his part. He definitely had the right idea, just got there a little late and couldn't stop his movement.
Vince Carter fails to tie the score on the first free throw. Kesey is now out of the game. Harrington gets a quick breather on the bench. He's back in, and so in comes Dennis Scott. So the Grizzlies playing a little small ball now as well.
Sorry, Rod, if I'm Ryan Hollins, I have to be happy with the pace of this game. Vancouver doesn't want to get into 100-point games, even though that's what they scored the last time against the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors, if you look at their style of play, they're an explosive team that like to get up and down the court. You just haven't seen that so far, so Vancouver doing an excellent job as far as that goes.
Pick and roll to Harrington. Under 2 to go. 8 on the shot clock. Tie game, and a foul again inside.
Michael Bibby doing an excellent job getting into the lane. Kevin Willis picking up the foul. Bibby's so good at attacking, Rod. He does a great job of keeping that ball low. That's why he's capable of splitting double teams, getting into the lane quickly, pushes it out in front, but stays down low. And he's always got his head up to see where his teammates are. And what also helps out, by keeping your head up when you're driving in the lane, the defense doesn't know if you're going to stop and take that shot, go all the way, or make that dish.
Hasn't exactly been a free throw shooting clinic so far in this third quarter, but
and both teams are pretty good free throw shooting teams.
Bibby makes it a 1-point game again. Mike Bibby had 10 points in the first half with 6 assists. So far in the second half, only 1 point and 1 assist, so they've got to get him back into the offense. Carter through the legs again. 10 on the shot clock. Double team on Sharif. Oakley's open. Charles Oakley, no. Abdurrahim now gives it to Bibby.
Fella Harrington had a great job of coming down there and getting in front of Kevin Willis. He's had a sure offensive rebound, not for Fella Harrington's effort.
Scott inside to Sharif. Christian with the trap. Abdurrahim baseline. Feeds it to Dickerson. Open shot. Rainbow. Abdurrahim is fouled. Actually, that's Harrington underneath by Kevin Willis. So Fella Harrington will go to the line.
2 outstanding efforts. At the defensive end, Othello Harrington getting down in front of Kevin Willis, taking away an offensive rebound, and the offensive end, inside position again on Kevin Willis, going up strong, able to get the ball. They were teammates in Houston. They know each other well, but Othello Harrington showing his quickness around the hoop. Now, Rod, remember one of the things I talked about going into this third quarter, one of the keys that may prove to be the difference in the game. Vancouver now has been to the line 18 times. Toronto just 8. In their first meeting, there was a huge discrepancy in free throw attempts and makes between the two teams, and starting to build in Vancouver's favor.
But you're always right. I always listen to you. 66-64, under a minute to go in the third. Vancouver by 2. Nice defense by the Grizzlies. Del Curry again. Del Curry off the bench, and he is now 3 of 3 for 7 points.
And Michael Dickerson forgot about him. He leaned towards the top instead of staying with Del Curry, who was heading to the corner for an easy shot.
The three-pointer makes it a 1-point Toronto lead, and a foul as Dickerson was knifing his way to the basket.
And you see the difference in the way the two teams are playing when you talk about free throws, Rod. Vancouver mixing it up, jump shots and penetration. Toronto more perimeter, more jump shots. And when you do that, you don't get the free throw attempts.
Well, this is a time of year that I know you love and I love. March Madness, NC2A time in the States. A couple of years ago, Dickerson and Bibby led the Arizona Wildcats to an NCAA championship. There aren't many guys in this game besides those two that actually have an NC2A championship ring, but a couple of weeks we'll have the coverage down the dial on CTV Sportsnet, the early round games.
Oh, such a great time of year, Rod. When you look at the NCAA tournament, it's one and done. You talk about excitement.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have a chance. You have a bad game. It's home for the summer.
Curry again. 4 of 4.
And Michael Dickerson knows he made a mistake. Del Curry is too good a shooter to allow him to catch and shoot. You have to get up tight on him. 1, deny him the ball, and 2, make him put it on the floor. He's a better spot-up shooter than he is off the dribble.
Abdurrahim Dickerson, great rebound, was up in the clouds. but a foul with 10.1 seconds left in the third quarter.
That's that leaping ability we talked about earlier about going to the basket. Here it's evidence on the offensive glass. He just lined that ball up and just tried to jump over everybody. Look at this effort. And that's over Othello Harrington and Antonio Davis, who are both 6'10", and both can get up as well.
That one gets in, so cutting the lead to 1. 10.1 seconds to go here in the third. Michael Dickerson, I know they were measuring the verticals during the slam dunk competition at the All-Star game. Vince Carter's wasn't the best vertical, by the way. I think Steve Francis had the best, but I bet you Michael Dickerson is among the best in the game for vertical jumps.
And he's a sneaky jumper. That's the kind of player you fear because he don't think he can do it. He'll come up and just throw one down on you.
Last shot to the Raptors, 4 seconds. McGrady stopping. No, at the buzzer. Well, it doesn't get any closer, Leo.
Just where you want it going into the fourth, but tie ball game.
70-70. Vince Carter. Game high 17. Check that. Michael Dickerson now a game high 18. So Dickerson, Carter, Abdur-Rahim. A lot of good subplots beyond the head-to-head matchup with Sharif and Vince. Fourth quarter is straight ahead. You're watching the NBA on CTV. The Vancouver Grizzlies have 14 less wins this season than the Toronto Raptors, but they play this team very hard. Their head coach does not think this rivalry is contrived at all.
No, it's tough because we only play twice a year and 3 times with the exhibition game, and you can't even count the exhibition game. So it is tough to develop, but I think the players understand how important it is and what it means to Canada to have 2 teams go at each other and compete and bring some notoriety to the country.
There we go, fourth quarter, sold-out crowd at GM Place. Rod Black, Leo Routon, Sunil Joshi, Rick Barry, Norma Wick with you at GM Place. 70-70. Vancouver Grizzlies play the Toronto Raptors very hard. Straight up, Milt Palacio off the bench watching Muggsy Bogues. Del Curry off the screen, watched by Dickerson. McGrady caught Abdur-Rahim on an overstep. Willis over the back, loose ball foul, Kevin Willis.
And another foul. That's the 4th foul on Kevin Willis and against the Toronto Raptors, simply because Vancouver establishing excellent position. Now, you think free throws are important, Rod? The Grizzlies' percentage has dropped down to 40% in this game, but they've made 18 free throws. The Raptors' percentage is around 50%. They've only made 6. That's the difference that's allowed Vancouver to continue to play despite not shooting the ball as well.
Dickerson is off. Well, the Grizzlies are a very quick team, and maybe that's one of the reasons that the Raptors have 21 fouls compared to the Grizzlies' 11 fouls.
And I think a lot of it has to do with position and anticipation. We've seen examples of Othello Harrington, Abdur-Rahim establishing position early, and on the defensive end, they're containing their man. And look at that help there by Milt Palacio.
Palacio the steal to the basket. No, Abdur-Rahim up, lays it in. Sharif Abdur-Rahim now has 14.
Abdur-Rahim did not stop on the play. It looked like Palacio had a wide open layup. He continued on, had great position for that offensive rebound. If you look at Palacio, this is a big break for Michael Bibby to get a few minutes rest here. Palacio had career highs at the time of 11 points and 4 rebounds against the Raptors.
Good rebound by Harrington. Gives it off to Palacio. 72-70. Grant Long got the turnover. Antonio Davis, the foul, will send Grant Long to the line. The Grizzlies, the beneficiaries of a bit of a lapse by the Raptors.
Oh, Milt Palacio threw an ill-advised pass. Lionel Hollins just talked to him and said, hey, don't force it. Just relax and see, here's that pass. Just not a good idea. You want to throw it up to the hoop, but heads-up play by Grant Long. And that's the type of play Grant Long gives you, Rod. Hustle play. He'll get the loose balls, he'll get the offensive rebounds, he'll get the garbage points around the hoop, and occasionally snap out, as we've seen, and hit that foul line or 15 to 17-foot jump shot. So Grant Long obviously can contribute a great deal to a team winning.
Raptors in foul trouble. Davis with 5, Oakley with 4, Willis with 4. Shades on his head. Long drains the free throw. 4-point Vancouver lead.
I still don't get the shades in the head and the free throw. If you're going to take all your other shots with the glasses on, why not do the same with the free throws?
Muggsy Bogues looking like Curly Neal. Gets it.
Boy, Muggsy Bogues, good luck trying to trap him. He just dribbled through Festus. He did it against the Boston Celtics, a trapping team. He just went around them like they weren't even there.
He is hilarious to watch. Smallest guy on the court, biggest heart. Doug West, back to Long, and a walk.
Good defense there by Charles Oakley, Rod, and get a look at Muggsy Bogues again. To try to trap him is almost impossible. He will dribble through and around traps, and lately he's been deadly with his jump shot. 24 points against the Boston Celtics. As I mentioned earlier, a perfect game. Did not miss from anywhere on the court.
Bogues to McGrady. Tried to go baseline, was cut off by Doug West. The journeyman, who has been such an acquisition as well, did not play much last year or even this year, but when he's on the floor, this guy puts his hard helmet on. Muggsy Bogues, key basket. Grizzlies by 2.
CTV Sports presentation of the NBA on CTV, sponsored by Nike, proud supporters of Canada basketball, and by Pontiac, built for drivers.
Muggsy Bogues Friday night in Toronto. Perfect night. 6 of 6 from the field, 8 of 8 from the line. Rick Pitino was giving him the shot after the game. Pitino said, well, we weren't doing anything good if we're letting Muggsy Bogues beat us. Well, Muggsy said after, well, you can tell Pitino that we are doing something really good here. Muggsy, who may be, beyond Vince Carter, the most popular player in the NBA in visiting buildings.
Oh, no doubt about it. Everybody loves Muggsy Bogues. How many fans can look down to an NBA player, or worst case scenario, eye to eye, and you can see.
And they're only 13.
4 points, 4 assists, and look at where Tracy McGrady lines up with the free throw line now. Roddy moves about 2 feet back behind the line. Feels that he shoots it too strong, heads toward the back of the rim when he's at the line, made the adjustment, and he's been actually doing a great job shooting a couple of steps back.
Game is tied. Harrington. Oh, that's a jump shot goes this time.
That's a tough shot for a big guy to go full speed, stop in the lane, stop in a dime, go up and hit it. That's a big-time move, and he's got 18 and 9 rebounds. 9.5 minutes to go here in the fourth. Good close game here at GM Place. Oakley had it blocked by Grant Long. Carter for 3. And over the back, Kevin Willis. And that is number 5 on Willis. So Butch Carter's big men in whistle trouble. You have to give so much credit to what Vancouver's doing. Once again, establishing their position. How about Grant Long getting out on Charles Oakley and getting a piece of his jump shot? Heavy watch by Bogues. Dribbling out of trouble. West swings to Abdur-Rahim. Bounce pass to Doug West. And fouled by Tracy McGrady. So Doug West will go to the line. Unselfish play there, Abdur-Rahim. Putting that ball on the floor, attracting the defense, getting the help to come over, finding the open man. Actually, they are not giving it to McGrady. In fact, it's a loose ball foul. It was away from the play. It looked like a McGrady foul at first. They called Kevin Willis. And there is a critical blow to the Raptors' fortunes. Willis is now out of the game. And Butch Carter saving, since there's just under 9 minutes to go here, saving Antonio Davis on the bench. And this is going to make the Toronto Raptors a very small team on the floor. We have a sprint now. Small ball against small ball here. Raptors normally would have the use of Michael Stewart to come in off the bench in a situation like this. Bad pass by Abdur-Rahim. But Michael Stewart's been put on the injured list with a sprained knee, so he's not eligible to play. McGrady almost lost his footing. Abdur-Rahim has done a nice job on Vince Carter. Reverse lay-in, no. Vince Carter will go to the line. Currently with 17 points. Yeah, Vince Carter only 13 shots in this game. He's a player that you want to have the ball in his hands a great deal more than he's had. And you can see as soon as he's put on the floor right there, there's good help. Othello Harrington coming over, although a little late. But the right idea is there. You want to come over and trap and force him to give it up, make somebody else hit a shot.
So the Raptors now 8 of 11 from the line.
And Vince Carter normally deadly at the line, Rod. 80% shooter on the season. He's missed a couple today.
18 points for Carter. Ties the game high with Othella Harrington and Michael Dickerson. Grizzlies by 1, 8.5 to go. Sharif cleared out now, one-on-one with Vince. The spin move, of course. Not the result, though. Carter lost it. It's on the floor. Muggsy's down there. Raptors with numbers. Curry, 4 for 4, 5 for 5, and a triple.
Well, Muggsy knows how to get an assist, Rod. He's played his old teammate to Charlotte. Del Curry spots up. Muggsy Bogues, so you can look anywhere you want, but that's a sure assist.
78-76. The battle continues, inside and outside in this game. West off balance. McGrady this time is whistled for the infraction.
Butch Carter's really upset about this call, as is Tracy McGrady. And it looked as if Tracy McGrady had pretty good position, Rod. Got ahead of Doug West, and he's such a good athlete, able to get up in the air. And that's a third foul for McGrady. Butch Carter obviously feels there's a discrepancy at the free throw situation, and it definitely is in terms of numbers of shots taken and made.
Tracy McGrady getting the start again today. Of course, he is getting some serious recognition for 6th man of the year when those votes are tabulated, because he has been a dynamo coming off the bench for Butch Carter this year.
Yeah, Butch Carter recently inserted him into the starting lineup. The team is 4-1 with McGrady as a starter, more for his defensive purposes as well as his scoring.
Butch calls the play from the bench. Curry holding the hot hand right now. They might want to feed the fire. 7.5 to go. Carter's shot is short. Oakley into the bench. Almost saved it.
But Vince Carter, if you watch the way he's played over the last 13 games, averaging just over 30 points a game, you could see he doesn't have the same emotion. His jump shot seems a little bit flat right now. Has to find a way to get back into the rhythm here in the final 7 minutes for Toronto.
Vince has not scored a field goal since the 10:20 mark of the third quarter. Harrington had both McGrady and Carter in the air. Probably looked up and saw both of them and then walked.
It was a good idea. He really did have both defenders leaving their feet. A little hesitation showing the ball. And Harrington realized that he did shuffle the feet.
Tie ball game, 78. We've said that a lot today. Tie game. Canadian Cousins going at it. Oakley again. Got it again.
And this is his time. Big shots are a part of Oakley's game. He can be consistent throughout, but he has made all season long for the Raptors more big shots than probably anybody other than Vince Carter.
14 for Charles Oakley today. Playing with 4 fouls right now. Bounce pass inside. Good feed west to Harrington. What a nice play by the Grizzlies.
Excellent play. They spread the court out. Great spacing and took advantage of a mismatch. Othella Harrington able to take Vince Carter down low in the post.
80 up. Curry. Still perfect? No. Abdur-Rahim bringing the ball up the court. Had the lane inside, gave it off to West. That shot couldn't go. Muggsy now to Vince Carter. Feed to McGrady, baseline, short. Carter battling for the rebound, knocked out of bounds by Vancouver. Timeout on the floor. 6:08 to go on the fourth. The Canadian showdown living up to the billing. 80 apiece here at GM Place in Vancouver. Just over 6 minutes to go in the fourth. Toronto 80, Vancouver 80. Grizzlies getting outscored on the bench right now. But come winning time, they've been finding a way to win lately.
I think that the young guys are still learning the NBA lifestyle. And, you know, the back-to-backs. When you win one game or you win 2 or 3 games in a row, the rest of the league takes notice. So they realize when a young team comes in that's winning a couple games, they pick up their level of play. But before, say Vancouver's coming in, oh, that's an easy win, you ain't got to play hard. But now the young guys are playing harder, learning how to win. Some of the vets are playing better, getting healthy, playing better. So it's a different complexion of ball club coming out there now.
Rod, when you talk about a different complexion of club, look at this guy right here, Michael Dickerson. He's just been such a positive factor all season long for Vancouver, just getting better and better as the season goes along. And you talk about life in the NBA and back-to-backs. What a road trip coming up for the Grizzlies. They have back-to-backs coming up on an East Coast swing.
Be tough on the backs. 6 minutes to go. Del Curry. Pick and roll to Vince Carter. Liftoff. Misses.
Rod, see Vince Carter, the effort made to try to get a shot off. Nothing is coming easy for Vancouver. Othello Harrington getting there, establishing his position, getting his hands up in the air. He knows he's not going to block his shot. You want to bother a shot, change a shot, make things more difficult. And right now, Vancouver's able to do that.
The Grizzlies have been more successful than many of the best teams in the NBA of shutting down Vince Carter.
No doubt about it.
Dickerson looks for Harrington. Looked for the handoff. Decided to post up Oakley. And got the hook shot.
See, Othello Harrington feels very confident that he can shoot over Charles Oakley. He's shown that throughout the game. And the key is get that shot off quickly. Establish position, make your move, and get it up before any help can come into the post area.
82-80. What a wild ride this has been this afternoon. Abdur-Rahim knocked it out of bounds.
Abdur-Rahim getting called for the foul. Did a great job of denying with the left hand. His right hand, however, was wrapped around Vince Carter from the back, and that's where he picks up the foul.
Leo, 15 lead changes, 12 ties in this game so far.
It really has been an outstanding game as far as competitive nature. Teams not giving up anything to one another. It's going to be a wild finish here.
Over 5 to go. 8 on the shot clock. So McGrady's going to take it to Scott and couldn't bury it. But Oakley, big rebound for Charles Oakley. There's Muggsy. Set shot, Bogues. No. Bibby and Carter racing for the ball into the hands of Curry. Guess what?
Yeah, sometimes, Rod, when you're going out of bounds like that, you're better off going out of bounds and losing the ball that way instead of putting in the hands of the best three-point shooter for the Toronto Raptors. He's 6 of 7 now from the field.
15 points for Del Curry. He has been a factor here, the X factor for the Raptors. Carter with the steal. Bad pass by Harrington. Look out!
It's all starting with the defense. The energy level is picking up right now for the Toronto Raptors. Double team on Othello Harrington. Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, everybody stepping it up, and that's where you get those transition opportunities.
Let's take a look at a couple of turnovers by the Grizzlies. First, the Mike Bibby giveaway.
Rod, if you know who you're giving it to, fine, but if you don't see the open man, don't throw it up court towards the other team where they can score like Del Curry.
And then at the other end of the floor, Grizzlies trying to take it to the hoop. Harrington, Vince Carter the steal.
Yeah, forced pass right there. Carter in great position, stepping up, and the spectacular finish at the other end that even the folks here at GM Place had to stand up and applaud for.
Well, another one of those oh my highlight plays by Vince Carter.
And Vince Carter, Rod, he's got 20 points in the game. You wouldn't know it from watching the game. You really got to stare the stat sheet down to figure out that he does have 20 points. But that's the type of player he is. He can quietly get his points, or he can do it the spectacular way. But the last 4 minutes of the game is where you don't want to play against a player like Vince Carter.
Well, a spectacular slam dunk, ending a long drought without a field goal. That's Vince Carter. As I said when we were at the All-Star game, he gives you a severe case of jaw dropulosis. The guy just makes people's jaws drop, and he's done it around the NBA. And there's Vince with 20, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and a big steal.
Big surprise for the Raptors is Charles Oakley stepping up. You know Del Curry is capable of exploding off the bench. But for Charles Oakley to give you 14 points in a game like this, where the Raptors obviously not in the flow, forced to play more half court, that was a big plus.
And for the Vancouver Grizzlies, all of their starters in double figures. Othello Harrington with a big game, 22 points. But something must be said about the Vancouver Grizzly team. And if you're a fan maybe in the middle of Canada, you look at the records, you say, well, the Raptors are a better basketball team. But I maintain that if the Vancouver Grizzlies were in the other conference, they would probably have 14 more wins.
Certainly being in the Western Conference is not going to help the Vancouver Grizzlies. If they were in the East, they would be a much better team in terms of statistical wins and losses. Also, you have to look at the fact that Lionel Hollins takes over December 18th. Obviously, he's the right coach for this team. Had he been there from the beginning of the season and the team was healthy from the start, you still don't have Big Country in the lineup because of his problems. If this team is healthy, Lionel Hollins as coach, you have a much, much better team, a tougher team than a lot of people realize.
Toronto by 2. It's winning time now. Last 4 minutes to go. Bibby in the trap. Dickerson, shot clock's at 7. Harrington is fouled, and it doesn't go. Almost had the three-point play. So Harrington will shoot 2, a chance to tie the game back up.
Now, last time he had the ball, the Raptors were able to get down there quickly on a double team. This time, Othello Harrington making his move before anybody can get there to help Charles Oakley out. And Oakley's had his hands full trying to defend Harrington. 22 points, 9 rebounds in the game. And you talk about an efficient 22 points, Rod, 9 of 13 shooting.
I guess what we were saying before is he misses a key free throw, is there is a bit of a disparity between East and West in the NBA. If you look at the 8th place team in the West, Sacramento, they are 33 and 25. The 8th place team in the East is 28 and 31, and 2 big misses there by Othello Harrington.
No, definitely obviously a big discrepancy between the East and West. Also, the size. There's some big teams in the West.
Carter couldn't make it go on the alley-oop. Thought he had it. Races back down floor with Abdur-Rahim. 84-82 Vancouver. What a feed! Sharif the flush. Othello Harrington is having himself a ball game. What a pass.
That really was a great look, Rod, but give Abdur-Rahim some credit right there. He had Del Curry on him. He pinned him right down low. Curry not able to handle a player of his size in the post.
Here they go. Carter, Abdur-Rahim, and the foul. Vince will go to the line. So Sharif has 16. Vince has 20.
Abdur-Rahim contributing in other areas too. 12 rebounds, 5 assists, and nice move right here. Good pass from Oakley to Vince Carter. Normally you don't see him miss those shots, but look at that pass. See the pin down right there underneath the basket. Abdur-Rahim has Del Curry, and Del Curry says, you know, I blew it. I should have been ahead of him. I should have stayed in front of him. Anything. You just don't allow a guy to pin you down like that.
You would think at this point of the game, as Carter just gets the roll, you'd look to the fire like a Del Curry, who has been hitting baskets left and right. But this team has shown over the last season, maybe the last few weeks, this is Vince Carter time. Fourth quarter Carter.
Exactly. And Vince Carter time also means getting to the line. He's been to the line 8 times in this game, which is huge in terms of the numbers and the difference at the free throw line. But Vince Carter knows you're not just going to win the game shooting jump shots. You have to try to find a way to get to the basket.
86-84, Toronto. Harrington playing catch with Dennis Scott. Face up. No. Abdur-Rahim again. He couldn't get the basket to drop, but he will shoot 2.
His positioning. We've seen him pin Del Curry down when he doesn't have the basketball. This time on the glass, he knows Othello Harrington's going to shoot it. Why not? He's been shooting all game. He takes Vince Carter down, gets inside of him, and so close to finishing that shot. Tell you what, this guy can get hit left and right. He still finds a way to somehow put that ball in the basket.
Boy, free throws are going to prove crucial right now, and the Grizzlies just aren't hitting them.
The Raptors won a big game in Boston last Wednesday simply because Vitaly Potapico missed 6 free throws in the last couple of minutes of that game. You don't want to miss these free throws. You have to take advantage of your opportunities at the line, and shaky as it was, at least that one went down.
Let's go to Norma Wick.
Thanks, Rod. Well, before the game, Butch Carter said he hoped the whistle blew often, and he also said that the team that made it to the free throw line 30 to 35 times was going to win this game. That was 31 for the Grizzlies.
Oh, Vince Carter with another gravity-defying hanger in the air.
Wants the ball this time of game. Vince Carter loves these opportunities. Look at this. He's going right inside, and he's not looking at that jump shot anymore. The jump shot hasn't been dropping for him. Now he's going to the bucket. After he makes a few more of these moves, he will come back to the shot at the right opportunity because the confidence is back. But that's maturity of a player understanding how to win and how to get to the free throw line. As we talked about, 31 attempts for Vancouver, just 14 for the Raptors. You don't win many games when there's such a difference.
Another miss. We have seen a lot of 15-foot shots go astray. Carter has the last 6 Toronto points. It's 88-85 the visiting Raptors in control. 2.5 minutes to go. Harrington, with Carter on him, wanted the ball from Scott. They're still looking inside to Harrington. The fella has been very hot, but Dennis Scott gives it off to Sharif. Missed it as the shot clock was almost set to expire. Carter bringing it back, and with over 2 minutes to go, Toronto could extend their lead. Carter, look out again!
Great pass from Muggsy Bogues. Carter coming right down the middle after he picked up his 8th rebound. Rod, great players step up at important times of the game. Vince Carter knows what makes him great, why people want him to be the leading vote getter in the All-Star game. They love his game simply because he steps up and gets the job done.
Fourth quarter Carter. And you don't think his confidence has been buoyed this week by the 51-point performance a week ago against Phoenix, and then, of course, the buzzer beater against Boston. I think right now his confidence is so high, Vince Carter thinks he can do anything.
And he can. The bottom line is he can do anything because he's athletic enough defensively to make a difference in the game, on the glass to make a difference in the game, and obviously offensively. But he had to really fight on that last defensive possession. Othello Harrington was trying to pin him down, trying to keep him off the glass, trying to get some offensive rebounds, and Vince Carter just said, hey, you know what? We need this rebound, and I'm going to get it. And that's the type of player he is, even in a mismatch situation.
Well, he is putting his name in the ballot box again for maybe a consecutive Player of the Week award. He currently has 26. Just seemed like a few moments ago he only had 17. Carter on fire, and now the Grizzlies trying to pull it back out. 2 minutes to go. They trail by 5. Biggest lead for Toronto. Dickerson slashing inside. Big basket, Mike Dickerson.
Well, Dickerson's been quiet for a while. That was just an excellent move. Charles Oakley gambled, and Dickerson made him pay for it.
So the Raptors now with a 3-point lead will try to kill a little clock. McGrady behind his back to Oakley. Takes the shot, looked like a foul. Carter brings it back, and the shot clock now will be reset. And Muggsy will slow it down again. 1:20 to go, 20 on the shot clock.
Those are the rebounds you just can't give up if you're Vancouver. Block out. They've been doing it all game. Don't stop doing it now.
Carter almost got the bounce. A 3-pointer would tie the game. A minute to go. Dickerson. Sharif, and a foul, and it is a charging violation. Michael Dickerson going inside, and Vince Carter not only stepping up offensively, but defensively.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about, Rod. We've seen him get almost every rebound now for the Toronto Raptors in the last couple of possessions. He's getting charges. He's scoring. He is just taking his game to an entirely different level when it matters the most.
And like all of the great ones that have played in the game, and this career has only begun, he picks the right time to step up. Carter baseline. Lost the ball, though.
Took his eye off the ball. Roddy looked at Charles Oakley. He's going to make the pass. Couldn't get it back.
90-87. Scott. And a whistle. And a foul away from the ball. Vince Carter now with his 5th foul. So the Raptors have Vince Carter with 5, Charles Oakley with 5, and Antonio Davis with 5. Kevin Willis has already fouled out.
Well, if you're Vancouver, you have to come down with a great defensive stop. Hopefully, Abdur-Rahim makes these free throws for you. At the other end, you got to have a great defense stop, but look to try to go at Vince Carter if you can, simply because you'd rather him be sitting in the final few seconds than on the floor.
This could come down to free throws as well. Had the Grizzlies been able to hit the free throws over the last 2 minutes, they would be leading this game, but right now they trail by 2.
As I said, anytime you're getting to the line 30 or more times, for any coach, whether it be Butch Carter, Lionel Hollins, you can stress to your team, and they all do, that if you can get to the line 30 times, there's not too many games you're going to lose.
But they could lose this one. Only 24 of 32 so far from the stripe. Make that 24 of 33. And now they trail by 2. 32.1 seconds. Now 30 seconds to go here in the 4th quarter. 10 on the shot. Vince takes it to Sharif. Carter does it again!
Oh, my. Can you believe this guy? Othello Harrington came over, Rod. He thought he had him. Abdur-Rahim played him tough. Vince Carter just wanted that ball to go in the bucket. Incredible move on the baseline.
Don't step on Superman's cape. Vince Carter will do that to you. Let's tap in and review our IBM Advanced Scout keys to this game.
Well, Rod, Vancouver was able to have a solid first quarter, and that enabled the crowd to stay in this game. They sustained it throughout the rest of the game. Transition defense, fast break points. Toronto a slight edge. Vancouver doing the better job at the three-point line, but again, neither a factor. The free throws the big difference in this game. Vancouver stepping up, but unfortunately, there's one other factor that we didn't put down.
2 words.
That's Vince Carter stepping up and making the difference.
Well, free throws are a key. In the final 4 minutes, Leo, so far, the Grizzlies only 2 of 6 from the line. That game right now, those free throws would have the game tied. Look at Vince Carter, soaring like an eagle again.
Just a spectacular move, and what really has killed Vancouver, Rod, the things they did so well throughout the game, getting all the rebounds, not giving up second shots, hurt them at the end, and making free throws all game, missing at the end, has killed them.
They need a quick bucket here. 17.5 to go and a whistle. And Vince Carter is done for the game. That is a foul against number 15. So Vince Carter is now out of the game, fouling his old buddy. But what a performance again for Vince Carter. 28 points, 9 rebounds.
We mentioned if you're Vancouver, next time you get the basketball, the offensive end, that's the guy you want to attack. You'd rather finish this game regardless of how much time is left with him sitting on the bench. If you're the Vancouver Grizzlies, Abdur-Rahim making the right move, going right at the bucket, just has to make sure he knocks these down.
He'll have to knock these down. And then a quick foul the other way with only 15.8 seconds. And the Raptors with some pretty good free throw shooters on the floor. The guy you probably might want to foul is Tracy McGrady.
But Tracy McGrady's made some adjustments to his shot stepping back, so he's pretty confident. But what a solid game Abdur-Rahim has had here, Rod. Except for the free throws down the stretch, which, again, are so critical.
There's the guy you don't want to foul, Muggsy Bogues. Best free throw shooter on the Raptors, over 90%. He doesn't have enough attempts to be among the league leaders, but he would be second in the NBA right now behind Jeff Hornacek had he been able to qualify for it.
And the thing about Muggsy Bogues in this situation is Vince Carter looks on and says, come on, Muggsy, take us home, big fella. The important thing is Muggsy wants the basketball, Rod. He will dribble through traps and presses right now, and he will give it up because you understand you don't want to try to take chances. But he wants to get fouled because he believes he can step to the line and ice this game. If your primary ball handler has that confidence and has the ability to ice the game at the free throw line, that is a huge advantage.
Hey, there is a rare miss by Muggsy Bogues.
What do they say? Free throw shooting is contagious, right?
This has not been a clinic on free throw shooting today. The Grizzlies only 3 of 8 over the last 4 minutes. 93-89 Toronto. Again, this lifetime series between these two teams, 4 wins apiece. They only played once last year. So if a Raptor victory does indeed happen today, Toronto would even the season series with the Grizzlies, and no team has swept a season series. So it goes to show you the expansion teams over the years, despite their disparaging records.
Well, for Vancouver, this would be an unfortunate game to lose as well as they played. They played the Lakers very well, Rod. Lionel Hollins is saying they played a solid game there. Played pretty good against Portland, one of the top teams in the league. With about a minute to go, were able to get that game down to almost 4 points. That Othello Harrington made a dunk instead of getting it off the back rim. Played okay against Sacramento. This is a team that's played pretty good against some very, very good teams. And this is a game, really, if they continue to play the way they played all game, would have won. And Vince Carter saying, hey, guys, it was just a touch foul. You can't foul me out like that. But the rules are pretty clear, Rod. We touched on it earlier. Above the free throw line extended, the offensive player has the ball, and he's facing the basket. You cannot put a hand on him.
There's the matchup, as we mentioned. It goes back to high school. Abdur-Rahim and Vince Carter. And as Butch Carter continues to tell everybody, the legend of this guy continues to grow. Everywhere you go in the NBA, you see Vince Carter jerseys in the stands, not just at the Air Canada Center. Don't forget, Sports Central will have a wrap-up from here. Busy day on the links and on the rinks. Jeff Hutchinson down the dial on CTV Sportsnet. That's coming up on Sports Central.
Rod, you talk about the Toronto Raptors. If they're able to continue on and win this game, if they play just 500 ball the rest of the season, and they haven't had a month where they've played less than 500 ball, they're on pace to win about 45, 46 games, which would put them not only in the playoffs, but in great playoff position.
So the Grizzlies need another quick score here. Bibby gets the ball. Abdur-Rahim is open. Decides to go to the basket. 8 seconds, knocked out of bounds. 7.6 left now.
Rod, we talked about a possible fatigue factor with Michael Bibby in the first half. Remember, he did a great job moving the ball, 10.6 assists. In the second half, 1 point, just 2 assists. But he's also played 46 minutes.
Abdur-Rahim for 3. Got it! He got it! Sharif Abdur-Rahim with the 3-pointer. That was a big basket. It's a 1-point ball game.
Oh, just a huge effort by Abdur-Rahim. He doesn't want to go down without the fight. 22 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists for the future.
This baby isn't over yet. 93-92.
Good confidence right here. Abdur-Rahim knows what he's got to do. He's good position behind the line. Never even looked down. He knew exactly where he was and what he had to do. So 2 key plays by Abdur-Rahim. 1, getting Vince Carter out of the game, and 2, knocking down this big shot right here with just 5.4 seconds to go.
So a week that saw Vince get a buzzer beater. Maybe the Grizzlies have one of their own in store. They're going to need another foul. 5.4 seconds, or certainly a turnover. They'll play the Raptors very tightly.
Yeah, what you want to do in this situation, Rod, you want to try to get a steal immediately. Try to get whatever you can, deflect the ball, see if you can get a quick steal. If you don't, you have to foul as fast as you can to eliminate any time getting off that clock, or as few seconds as possible.
Well, this has been a season of arrival, not only for the Raptors, but also the Grizzlies. One more win for Vancouver would tie their franchise best back in 97 and 98. They were 19 and 63. They'll have a few more wins than that before this season finally wears down. Good game by all of the starters. 11 points by Bibby, a little bit slow in the second half. 10 by Grant Long. Raptors, by the way, Leo, have not won in Vancouver since the first season, December 10th, 1995.
Well, Vancouver always gets a great crowd out for the Toronto Raptor games. Actually, this crowd at GM Place, I've always been a fan of the fans here. They come out here, they cheer, they're always positive with the team.
And they've been through a lot. These fans, this year in particular, with the ownership changes, players spouting off about not wanting to be in Vancouver, even a fella Harrington recently saying he's not a big fan of the Vancouver climate. Credit Harrington, though, he keeps going out there and playing like he did today.
Hey, you know what? You can hate the weather all you want, or you can hate the surroundings, but you put up numbers like 22 points and 10 rebounds. I'll take it.
But this has become a first-class basketball city. Certainly evident today. Sold-out crowd, and we've got a barn burner. Dennis Scott on Tracy McGrady takes the delay of game call. 5.4 seconds remaining.
I want to make sure if you're the Toronto Raptors, you set good screens and come meet the pass. Don't take chances.
McGrady gives it to Curry. Quick foul on Del Curry. Pretty good free throw shooter himself, about 73%.
Actually, you would expect that number to be a lot higher. He's such a great three-point shooter. He's got
not far out enough.
Maybe should shoot it just inside the top of the key. Make the adjustment like Tracy McGrady has. But Del Curry's also a very confident player, Rod. I guarantee you his percentages are a lot higher at the end of the game as opposed to throughout the game.
The Grizzlies have no timeouts left. Curry misses.
A big opportunity for Vancouver.
No timeouts for Vancouver. Will have to quickly push the ball up the floor. Crowd on their feet. Curry buries it. 4.5. Bibby takes it himself. No, he missed it. Mike Bibby, a chance to tie the game and send it to overtime. Missed it. A lay-in.
Ron, I don't think the Vancouver Grizzlies could have gotten a better shot if they tried. Just a tremendous move by Michael Bibby. You know the Raptors don't want to foul and put you on the line. Go to the bucket, dare him to foul, see Muggsy Bogues face at him. and Bibby took off from just a little bit too far away, Rod, to get that extension and get that shot to drop. Watch that fake by Bogues under the bucket, just enough to make Bibby pick up his dribble, and he just shortens the shot.
Charles Oakley knocking it out of bounds. It looked like there might have been a tenth or a couple of tenths left, but this game is over. And the Toronto Raptors have now won 5 straight, extending the Grizzlies' losing streak to 4. Here's Norma Wick.
Thanks. I'm with Vince Carter. Vince, it's not very often you win a game where the other team gets to the free throw line upwards of 20 more times than you do, but you guys pulled it out.
That's tough. Like I've been saying for a long time, we need to find a way to win, regardless if things not going our way. And this is another example of this team finding a way to win somehow. 17
lead changes, 14 ties. It looks like this rivalry is alive and well.
Oh, this is a great rivalry, and I enjoy playing in, and it means a lot to, I think, the fans more than the players, but this win was big for us.
You had another big game today. You've been averaging about 30 since the All-Star break. Butch Carter told me before the game he called a moratorium on your appearances, and that seems to have helped you relax and play ball.
Yeah, I just sit back and relax now, and I have nothing to worry about but what I need to do on the floor for the team and go out and try to win games for everyone.
All right, thanks a lot, Vince. Congratulations. Back to you, Rod.
Vince Carter, the NBA Player of the Week. Don't be surprised if he makes it 2 in a row, Leo Rautins.
No doubt about it, Rod. He's just played so well, and you hate the comparisons to Jordan, but they are inevitable.
They're there.
One of the things everybody always said about Jordan, regardless of what happened all game, you hated to see his face in the last 5 minutes of the game. Vince Carter is no different.
Vince Carter is the real deal. The Hurricane Carter swings magic again in the 4th quarter. 12:30 Eastern next Sunday. The CTV Sports Game of the Week will be Miami and Indiana or Philadelphia and Houston. Sports Central coming up with Jeff Hutchison down the dial. The Raptors' win streak is now 5 as they begin their road trip on the West Coast. Grizzlies have lost 4 in a row, but this one was close.
Great game, Rod. The rivalry will continue to go. And just an exciting game where the Grizzlies had an outstanding opportunity, but the Raptors were able to prevail on their home court.
So for Leo Rautins, Rick Barry, Sunil Joshi, and Norma Wick, this is Rod Black. Final score, the Raptors 94, the Grizzlies 92. Great one at GM Place today. You've been watching the NBA on CTV.